Hello, everyone, and welcome to Deadline Day Live. We're usually here to talk about the transfers, but as it has been in recent years, we're here to discuss about lack of transfers, unfortunately. Coming up over the next couple of hours, we've got special guests for the first one due up in a couple of minutes, and then we've got a massive guest at 9:30, a favourite of the channel. Gonzo, how are you?
I'm okay. I've been doing bedtimes and all types of things. So I take it we've not signed Kylian Mbappe in the last hour and 15 minutes.
No, we're not even signed Andy Carroll. Nothing. There's just nothing. You're in for a bad end to the window when sort of news filters out at like 4 hours before the deadline. That's unlikely West Ham are going to sign anything. It's even 4 hours ago. It's like, nah, there's just nothing happening. Just bin it off. Just go to bed. Go to bed.
Well, I mean, we heard that. We've heard that before. I didn't pay much notice to that sort of thing. I mean, we heard that, and then we signed Crow last time, but I just had a slightly different feel to it. It has to be said. I think the words are the same, but this feels interesting. Well, it's not interesting at all. I mean, it's bad, and there's going to be recriminations for this, and I think people are going to be looking for a scapegoat, and maybe people will be looking for one scapegoat. But I think there's a lot of factors involved in this, and a lot that probably needs to be getting into. The trouble is, this is all based on suspicion, which is us not getting players in is going to affect our form when we now become crap. It needs a miracle now. Basically, Moyes can't fail. He has to win. He has to get European football, and he has to have a good run in Europe and a good run in the FA Cup. Because the moment he doesn't, the moment we start to lose games, then people are going to look and say, well, there you go. You missed the opportunity to strengthen. And I sort of go back to something I've been saying for a little while about Moyes. And Moyes started the season by saying he kept on alluding to 2 points behind Chelsea. This season, we have to find those 2 points from somewhere. And as I keep on labouring the point, that Chelsea will be better than last season. And also it doesn't factor in that Arsenal will be better and Tottenham will be better. And I think by not signing somebody at a point where your rivals, and Tottenham are our rivals, are going to do so, then more or less you are surrendering that position, unless you have got something absolutely wonderful up your sleeve tactically. And it can only be tactical because it can't be through signings, that you are so sure that what you've got is going to enable us to get whatever it may be, 5th or 6th, right? That's what we need to do, 5th or 6th. He has to get it now, because if he doesn't, there is a direct correlation between us missing out on where we think we should be and what we should have achieved, if you know what I mean. But look, we're not. What I would say is we're not there yet. We haven't finished 10th. We haven't just got knocked out of Europe and stuff like that. But people are sharpening the axis. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, if you're joining us, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Do drop a like on the video. It helps us out. It makes us feel good as well. I've got a comment from Nigel. We'll be very interactive with the live chat this evening, so keep your comments coming in. I'm reading as many as I can. We'll get as many up on the screen, seeing what your thoughts are around the lack of signings, the blame game, if you want to call it that. Picking out this comment from Nigel, says that X is suitably pissed off, and it's the reason I'm picking out because it's kind of relevant. X West Ham employee joins us. X, how you doing?
Yeah, very well, mate. How are you both?
Very well, mate.
Well, you two are just lying, aren't you? None of us are very well. You're all just lying. You're lying, right? I'll be honest with you. I'm pissed off, right? I'm going to be honest with you. I am genuinely pissed off. I'm trying to stay calm for the sake of the video, and there's no point in me getting angry from the start, because I'm sitting here for angry 2 hours isn't going to do anything good. Now, X, I was getting you on to tell us the latest going on with the transfers. I think we might as well skip that bit. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I don't think there's much to talk about, mate, to be honest with you. I mean, so I said to you earlier in WhatsApp, is there much point me coming on now? Because I don't think there's going to be anything for me to really say. You know, stranger things happen on deadline day. You know, still what's the time? 9 o'clock. There's still 2 hours left, but I really can't see anything. I was told a good 5 hours or so ago now that it's done and that nothing's going to happen. So unless we're presented with a last minute tantalising deal, then yeah, I don't think there's going to be any business, unfortunately.
But X, even if there was, so let's say whatever, to let Azar, whoever it might be, that there is this tantalising deal. We haven't got time, surely, to do medicals and stuff like that. Something would have to how does that work? Surely something has to be in the offing. Someone has to be on their way to have the medical or something like that. You can't just start from scratch and get one done now, right?
Well, you can appeal to the like football, whoever the Premier League, I think, to get an extension for a couple. If you've got all the paperwork in place to say the deal is going ahead, you can appeal for an extension to get it sort of medicals and stuff finished. But that's all sort of hypothetical. I don't think it's going to happen. So yeah, factually it could happen, but I don't think it will happen.
X, just two deals I want to ask you about. First one is, as Gonzo calls him, what do you call him, Gonzo? You say
I think the C is pronounced with a T. I think, look, I am not proficient in, I do not speak, I don't even know if the language is Croatian, but as I understand it, that's how it's pronounced. I don't think it's a C, I think it's a T. I probably am.
I'm an English version guy. Collect a car. X, what do you understand about that? Because it's sort of, well, to be fair, the reports have been quite consistent, and we've been trying to loan him. Marseille have no interest in it. They only want to sell him, but we've got no interest in buying him. Is that true, I guess, over the last few days? How come? Have you any idea why West Ham haven't decided to purchase him?
Yeah, it is true. I mean, that's the sort of story I've been given by sort of people that have told me transfers for the last 10 odd years now. So yeah, that is the story that I had. I think it's just along the line, and I know people don't like this line because obviously there's a lot of players that come to England that aren't proven in the Premier League and turn out to be massive successes. But I think the line is that there's doubts whether he's the right sort of player for the Premier League. So rather than commit by signing him and then you've stuck with the player, they'd rather loan him with the option to buy, like what they did with Ben Rama and Dawson, and they've done with Crow and Areola. I guess gives you the chance to try before you buy type thing. But in doing that, you're sort of stuck with Diop, who hasn't performed since he's been in the team. So my opinion would be he can't be, no disrespect to Diop, but he can't be much worse than him. So I don't know why we didn't take a gamble on him personally, but that's the narrative coming out the club, and that's what I can go with really.
What about Darwin Nunez? There was lots of contradictory reports regarding him over the last 24 hours or so. He sort of went from a player we've never really heard of to all of a sudden, wow, here we are bidding tens of millions for him. What do you believe happened in regards to him?
It's very difficult to know what I believe because I can only put out what I'm told, and there's a difference between what I'm told and what I believe, if I'm honest with you. And Geo, you and I speak quite regularly, so you know my opinions on this. Like, what I was told is that we put in a bid for him, it must have been yesterday, sort of lunchtime-ish, and we were hoping to sign him for around 50 to 60 million, and that he was the one that we suddenly wanted to sign. But from the very start, I was told it's very unlikely. The guy was in Uruguay, various other factors, and it's the same with Phillips and the same with Rafinha. If you believe what you're told, then we put in bids for those players. However, the chances of us really signing, particularly the Leeds player, I mean, I don't know a huge amount about Nunez or Benfica, but particularly the two Leeds players, they're in a relegation battle. They're not in financial difficulties or anything. Why would they sell, Phillips or Rafinha to anyone, let alone West Ham, right now, particularly in the summer when there's probably going to be more demand for them, and they would have hopefully, for sort of Leeds' point of view, kept Leeds up. So it's a difficult one to really explain. The bids happened if you believe what you're told, but then sometimes you do have to question whether, when these bids go in, whether there's actually any genuine belief that they will actually go the full way through to completion.
Good man. One of my final questions for you, X, is from Rudy, from Alan. Alan says, does X have any idea what the aim was coming into the window? What were the plans? Like, did it go wrong? What was this expected by any? Do you know what the club or perhaps David Moyes' intentions was when the window opened?
Well, the intention was to firstly get Lingard. And Moyes made it very clear from the very start he wanted Lingard in. The fact that was still being negotiated as of a few hours ago sort of shows the journey there. But that's been up and down. Lingard wanted a prove himself at Manchester United. Then the new manager comes in and says that he's not going to play there, and they just changed really quickly. But now Manchester United, can you believe? I didn't think I'd ever say this growing up in the 90s, but Manchester United see us as a threat, so they don't want to lend their player to us that could then make us more likely to get in the top four than we would have been without him. And so that was the main one. We wanted to get a centre back, we wanted to get a forward. But for some reason, particularly with forwards, we seem to not be able to identify a player that anyone at the club, particularly the manager or whoever you want to sort of put this down to, thinks is good enough to play for us. But the bottom line is we're relying on a forward, a converted forward that's injury prone and is currently playing 3 games in Jamaica before we play our next game. You know what's going to happen. I hate to tempt fate, but you know full well, Kidderminster, 25th minute, ping, there goes the hamstring, and it's just going to be, it's just ludicrous in my opinion that you can go over a year now. It'll be a year and a half at least before we have more than one recognised forward on the books. And the objective was to get a forward, get a centre back, but the jury is out as to whose fault it is that we haven't. But there's seriously got to be questions asked. This is the first window that we've had a head of recruitment, and we haven't recruited anyone. So there's your first question. What's his role been in this? There's so many questions that need answering that, the next few weeks, I guess, are going to sort of tell a bit more as to what happened. But the narrative that will come out, and I can tell you it now, will be that we couldn't agree a deal for a player that we thought improved the team. That will be the line.
Last question for you, X. Put your in the know thing aside. Put that to one side. X, as a West Ham fan, what do you make of the transfer window?
In general, or this one in particular?
Yeah, just in general. Yeah.
It's a frustrating one. I mean, in the past we have signed some good players in January. Obviously, we got Bowen last year, didn't we? And there has been times when we have got some good players in January. I do agree it is harder to sign players. I mean, you look around the Premier League, there's teams that are struggling, and Manchester United being one. They've got rid of more players and they haven't brought anyone in. So there is evidence to say that the January window is hard to recruit. However, when West Ham could have, I'm not saying just sign any old striker, but there's strikers out there that you could have taken a risk on that would have been better than just having no one. So I leave this window massively frustrated. As a West Ham fan, season ticket holder for over 30 years, this is the closest I've had that West Ham could actually win something. I think we got a chance in the Europa League. We're still in the FA Cup. We're in a good position in the league, strengthened with a new centre-back and a new forward. We're only asking for 2 players, really. We could have pushed on and maybe had a good chance at winning them. Now, we're like 2 injuries away from, I don't know if dive bombing's the right word, but certainly struggling, and that's frustrating. When are we as West Ham fans ever going to see success? This should have been the season, but let's hope we're not being overly pessimistic, but we haven't helped our chances, that's for sure.
Brilliant. Gonzo, anything you'd like to add before we let X disappear?
Oh, I've got a lot. I got a lot to add. I've got an awful lot to add. I'm just sort of clinging to some sort of hope that something still might happen, because I don't like the way it's going, and I don't like the vibe that's going to be hanging around the club now. And I mean with all of this, I mean the feeling from all the fans. And I try and be as upbeat and as optimistic as anybody, and that's why I try and labour the point that nothing bad has happened yet, but it's the prediction of it happening. And like X said there, that's what you feel. It's the Mikel Antonio when he comes back injured, or we're 2 players away from it just going. It's a hell of a risk. I actually feel that it's more of a risk not buying anyone than actually buying someone, because this, as X just said, this is the launch pad. We wait this as a springboard. This is as good as it gets, as good as I can remember, in terms of 18 months of good form or whatever. And actually, if you do it now and you invest now from a position of strength, now's the time to do it. And I think it's just frustrating. I do agree. I think by and large, the league has not invested. Okay. I think you can make excuses for Newcastle. We understand something different is happening there. But what I think really hurts West Ham is, for once, we found ourselves for the last 18 months mostly above Tottenham. And you look at them, you think they've invested. Now, look, don't get me wrong. you may well find that by the time the Dele Alli sale goes through and the Ndombele sale goes through, I know it's on a loan, but by the time that's done, you may well find that actually Tottenham have spent no money. As a net spend, it's not very much in what they brought in, but it's still seen to be doing something. And the big thing here is Conte has got rid of players that don't interest him. Dele Alli ain't playing for Conte, and Ndombele's not playing for Conte, right? But he's got players in now he's worked with before who is going to play. And unfortunately, David Moyes has not done that. Okay. There should have been people there. If you can't get the best players, go and get replacements from Masuaku and Yarmolenko, people that actually just strengthen the squad. Give us a little bit. So, it's been very, very frustrating so far.
X, thank you very much for joining us.
Cheers, mate.
No worries, lads. See you later.
See you, mate.
Ex-West Ham employee arguably worked harder in the January transfer window than our scouts. Was involved in more deals than our scouts. Oh, brilliant. I'm trying to laugh because if you don't laugh, you'll cry.
That's plenty of time for crying. Plenty of time for crying, the night is young.
I about to say, it might come to that and give it a little bit. I just want to say a quick thank you to Will. Pop 5 in the biscuit.
Thanks, Will.
Thanks for the stream, guys. Our pleasure. This is like therapy to me. I've been looking forward to this stream to some extent. I went for a walk earlier with the dog. How do I get rid of that comment? I don't know. I'll just click on this one then. There we go. I went walk for a dog earlier and I was genuinely thinking, I felt pent up. I thought, I just need to. But I thought I'll just keep it.
Sorry, did you go or did the dog go?
I did it at the dog. I was
nice. Poor dog.
You want some? I'll give it to you. That's exactly that. Anyway, right, we've got our next guest up. Now, if you rewind to 12 months ago, Jake, you have 1,000 subscribers. Your channel's gone from strength to strength since then. How are you feeling?
Deflated. We spoke at 4:00 and nothing else has happened since then. And usually something eventful happens on this show on deadline day. What's on the cards tonight? What's on the eventfulness on Hammers Chat for deadline day this year?
Maybe just a song. Maybe we might have to do something silly to try and because there's nothing happening in the West Ham end, that's for sure. Having noughts and crosses or something.
To be fair, an uneventful transfer deadline day is not a bad thing for West Ham. In the past, we've had the Tony Henry saga. We've had the Jordan Hugo saga. We've had a lot of things going wrong on deadline day. So at least nothing's going wrong per se. We're just standing still, which I guess is going wrong. What were you hoping for this transfer window, Jake? When the transfer window opened, what was on your wish list?
I was hoping for us to show intent early on, which we obviously didn't do. Try and get Lingard over the line early on, which we now all know wasn't our fault for once. That wasn't our fault not getting that deal over the line. I just wanted us to go out and for once put a message out that we're here to stay. And other clubs have done it, like Villa. They've bought in some really good players, and as you just said there, Gio, we've just stood still, which is frustrating because yet again for the third transfer window running, it's another opportunity lost where we are stacking up our efforts and what we've got to do in the summer, because we're going to have plenty of stuff to do in the summer now that we've got like 7 players out of contract and deadwood to get rid of, like Yarmolenko, Fredericks, Masuaku, these kind of players, on top of the incredibly thin squad we've got now. So we're going to have to try and ship them out and get players in, which we failed to do this window. And I think it's just aggravated West Ham fans from frustration to anger at Moyes and at the board, and it's just West Ham, and it's really, really frustrating because it's an opportunity lost where we could have done something early, not just wake up 3 days before the window's going to end and then start putting in silly bids for players like we have done with Rafinha and Calvin Phillips and these players. And if we would have had a bit of structure, some recognisable transfer strategy, I think we would have been okay. But we failed on all fronts, which has been incredibly disappointing once again.
I think one of the big questions being asked this evening, Jake, is who is to blame here? In your opinion, who is to blame?
I don't know, because I genuinely think there was money given to David Moyes from Sullivan, Gold and Kretinsky. I'm convinced that Kretinsky to a level got his checkbook out. I'm convinced that Sullivan put a little something there, and together we had not a fantastic transfer budget, but there was something there. And David Moyes has been stubborn. Where the blame lays. A lot of people are questioning Rob Newman tonight, which I haven't done. I've looked at it and went, we haven't been. He hasn't scouted loads and loads of fantastic players to our knowledge. He might have done, but David Moyes probably just went nah, move on. I don't blame it on Newman, because he's not the one who's putting the bids in and putting his hand in his pocket. Yeah, it's got to be a margin for Moyes and a margin for the board, I think. I don't know how much the board gave David Moyes and what was said at the start of this window, saying you've got this amount of money, you've got that amount of money. I think it's definitely Moyes being stubborn to an extent, and it's just whether he wasn't given enough money to buy the perfect players that he wanted.
Last question for you, Jake. Obviously, we're currently sitting 5th in the Premier League. We're in the last 16 Europa League. We're in the fourth round of the FA Cup with a favourable tie. No signings though. So what's your sort of confidence for the rest of the season? Are you still confident we can maintain this and have a really good season, or are you now worried that we're going to drop out of the European spaces and struggle to compete on the cup competitions?
Yeah, there's an element of worry there, and not bringing in players is probably going to mean that we won't be able to go at the FA Cup as much as we would have liked. We've had one good cut or one decent cup run so far this year. The Europa League, I think, is definitely now just got to be the Premier League and the Europa League that we go out. And I don't like to say that because I love the FA Cup. I'd love us to win the FA Cup this year, not only for all the fans, but of course for Mark Noble as well. I think we might have to, in a way, just put the FA Cup, obviously, hopefully, touch wood, we could get past Kidderminster, and then we might have to put that obviously on the back burner until the next round. But there's an element of worry that we will slip down the league, I think, and not bringing in the players only leaves ourselves to blame. I think there's a possibility that we'll slip down. There's a possibility that we'll get a nasty team in the Europa League. It's over 2 legs. Anything could happen there. We can't predict that at all. But yeah, there's definitely an element of worry there.
Gonzo, Jake, don't go anywhere yet because this question's for you as well. But Gonzo, you've been sitting quietly, so I'll come to you first. It's from Jamie. He says, "Evening all. Hope all is well."
Jamie.
Not really. And question for all and young Jake: what kind of message do you think this sends to our squad? Why would you stay at West Ham, Gonzo?
The squad as a whole, I think you've got to separate the squad as a whole from the 2 players you're probably alluding to, Jamie.
Yeah,
to be perfectly honest,
he's referring to 2 players, one in particular, I think, but certainly possibly Bowen as well.
If that's the question you're asking, look. If you're Diop, you're probably not disappointed. Okay, so I think that you can go through.
You're probably relieved. You're probably thinking, "Thank God."
Yeah. Okay. So there's that. But if I think you're talking about Bowen and mostly Rice, then it gives Rice all the confirmation that he needs. Rice will have been suspecting this. What we had to do was surprise Declan. What we had to do was bring in the partner for Zuma, the guy that pushes Antonio to the bench, and Lingard or whatever. Do that. Do something that was surprise. Okay. I mean, Jake was saying there that he feels that there was a budget there, and I would agree with that. But I think we would all have an idea in our mind of what that budget might have been. And probably Declan Rice would have been. Surprise him. We all expected 50 million, 40 million, 50 million, 60 million. Go and surprise him. Go and do 130 million now and make Declan Rice think, oh, hold on a second. This is interesting. Then go and secure European football for next season and give Rice a reason to stay. Even if it's a little 1 more year extension or something, go and do something. But there won't be any surprise. What there'll be is confirmation, and Rice will just look at this and think that this is why I can't achieve what I'm going to do at what I want to do at West Ham. And what this does, it gives Moyes no comeback. Moyes cannot turn around anymore and say to Declan, "Give me time to build," because Declan will just turn around and say, "Mate, I'm sure they get on. I'm sure they like each other as people, but I'm pretty sure Declan will say, Gaffer, I can't work on your time frame. I'm sure you are going to build a great West Ham, but I haven't got the 4 or 5 years. I just don't. I need to move on, and I need to do it now. But there's World Cups, there's European Championships, there's things to do. There's Champions Leagues. And these teams, the big guys that are going to want Declan, are all going to be a lot richer next season because they are going to have got through that COVID revenue dip. There will be the new deal, the new international deal. The money will be in from that as well, which is carved up in a slightly different way to help those big clubs. There'll be a year of extra Champions League money. There's going to be a feel bad factor around those sort of players, and they're now just going to see West Ham as a team that can't compete financially.
Jake, what do you think? Do you think what the message does this send? Do you think a couple of players will be concerned at the lack of ambition?
Yeah, I think Gonzo's bang on. It's extremely difficult for David Moyes now to go back, as Gonzo said, to Declan Rice and say, we are building something there, and there's these rumours that Noble and Rice have gone to Moyes tonight and inquired about that. I doubt whether that's true. I don't know whether it's true, but it's really difficult now for David Moyes because he's probably sitting back having a cup of tea tonight, thinking, what's Declan Rice going to say to me tomorrow morning? What's Jared Bowen? What are these players going to think? And for the West Ham, players that have done well for us, they won't really have anything different to say. But for the likes of Rice, who will of course have ambitions to kick a football in the Champions League, to go to the heights that he can, this has really not helped our case to keep Declan Rice for as long as possible.
Good man. Well, Jake, thank you very much for joining us as always. There's a lot of love for you in the live chat. I'd love to read them all out, but we've got guests on and we'll be here all evening. But I hope you're reading it because I've been reading it, and there's a lot of people delighted to see you on the channel. So, Jake, keep up the good work. If you haven't already, do check him out, West Ham Unofficial on YouTube. We'll put a link to his channel in the description as well. But Jake, thank you very much.
Take care, mate.
Cheers, Geo. Cheers, Gonzo. See you soon.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Lovely little lad, isn't he?
Yes, he's nice.
Better behave than me and you. Player than me and you. More articulate than me and you.
No star, Geo. Let's be fair.
Yeah. Anyway. Right, our next guest will be here in 5-10 minutes, Gonzo. But I've seen you start a message. Ages ago.
I did, which I don't do normally.
Who is to blame for this shambles? I take it that's a discussion point for you.
It's a massive discussion point because I feel it's. I really understand everyone's frustrations, but that old saying when you see it, someone's got to go down for this. You've heard that, right? Lots of times, someone's got to go down for this, and I think it's in our nature to look for one scapegoat, and I don't want it to be such because I think there's a lot of factors at play here, as a lot of people responsible for failure, and I'm really glad that X touched on what he did because we've got a bunch of scouts now who are possibly not trusted to scout. Which the scouts should recommend a player, and then you should, okay, that's great. Have faith in your scouts. We got a head of recruitment who can't recruit. We got a new investor who can't invest. We got a brand new board who quite frankly, are the composition of them, and it's. I think people, we got Gold and we got Sullivan who are on that board. Brady's on that board. The two young Sullivans have been added to that board. Kretinsky's on that board. Horsenstein. I don't know. The board, what's the point? I mean, Kretinsky's coming with this new investment. What's the point? And then we've got a manager who clearly is an excellent coach and who is clearly very good at improving players and getting the best out of players. But he has a role at the club that's not just putting 11 players out on a pitch and getting some points. He's really good at that. The best we've had for a while. Another part of the job is bringing players in. And it's crippling. It's actually crippling that we can't do it. It's a massive part of the game is bringing players in. And it's stifling. And there's this recipe that I'm looking at the moment, which is, for whatever reason, the scouts are not fully trusted. We were told that Newman was being brought in to close the deals. We were told this. Okay? Sullivan won't be negotiating anymore. Newman's closing the deals. So actually, I'm looking at everyone. I'm blaming everyone on this. I want answers now. I want to know what Newman's role in it was. I'm not putting all the blame on him. That's what I'm saying. I mean, it needs to be spread around. We all suspect what's happening with David Moyes. What's Sullivan been doing? What's been the composition of this new board? What's everyone been doing? What's been the advice on here? They must have convened. They must have decided stuff. They must have discussed stuff. Kretinsky. Now I want to know. See, the thing is, I was very keen not to hail him as the coming of the Messiah when he arrived. Now I want to know. Now I'm curious. What's been his record signing at Sparta Prague? Because now I want to know. Because now I'm wondering what's been going on. And actually, I think everybody should be under scrutiny on this. And as I say, I'm mindful not to go, because we haven't lost 10 games in a row. Nothing's happened, okay? Nothing yet has happened, but we just all suspect it will. We suspect that we can't go from now until the end of the season without being impeded by some sort of minor catastrophe at West Ham, be it injury, suspension, loss of form, fatigue level. How many times have we seen teams where their players have been overtrained, they get knackered by the end of the season? Bielsa's Leeds get accused of it every season. Pochettino's team, remember? They always used to tail off at the end because they were knackered by the end of the season. We suspect this stuff is going to happen to West Ham. And what I don't understand is why collectively, between Moyes, his backroom staff, Newman, Sullivan, Gold, Brady, Kretinsky, the horsey one, all of these people, why they can't collectively get together and recognise what's best for the club is to bring some players in. Now, I get it. I absolutely get it. That what Moyes wants to do is strengthen that first team. Fine. But it doesn't, if you can't get your number one target, your number 1, 2 target, you want to save him for the summer, fine. Get some loan players in. There were players that there was possible to get. Strengthen that team. So we just go back to that. Who do I blame? I think collectively there's a lot of people to blame. Hopefully that rant is null and void and something happens in the next hour and a half. But it's just extremely frustrating, particularly when we see Tottenham. We seem to be going like that now, and Tottenham are going like that. And if and when it happens, we're all going to say, well, that is totally predictable.
Before we get our next guest on, which we will do in just a second, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new to Hammers Chat. If you're on Facebook or Twitter watching this, head over to YouTube, find Hammers Chat, subscribe to the channel. Everything you need as a West Ham fan in terms of match previews, reviews, etc., all on here. Drop a like on the video if you're enjoying it, because it's time for our next guest. Gonzo, one of your favourite all-time Hammers Chat guests, one of the viewers all-time. We wheel him out now and again for special occasions. Tonight's a special occasion. It's deadline day. It's Chris Akabusi.
Geo Gonzo, what's up, fellas?
We're not as bubbly as you, Chris. Can I say, one of my all-time favourite sportsmen, never mind Hammers Chat guests, a hero of mine, Chris Akabusi, King of Tokyo.
Yeah, there we go. Long time ago now, 30-odd years ago, fellas, but there you go. No, I mean, look, I'm a West Ham fan, and it's typical. When I say typical West Ham, I mean, it's a West Ham we've got to know and love, and that we lift you up and he let you down again, and you just got to accept that is the West Ham way. I don't like it. You'd hope it would be different. No one's coming in now. No one's coming in now, fellas. Let's get this, let's get it right. No one's coming in now. We hung our star on Lingard. Thought it would happen, and I cannot believe how far the mighty have fallen. If Man United see little old West Ham as their competitors, and they are so scared that we might knock them off their getting into. This is not winning the league. This is not talking about winning the league. Man United are so scared that they might not get that fourth place because little old West Ham might get there. That they're holding on to Lingard. I mean, give me a break. It's honestly, how far the mighty have fallen, Man United, that they daren't give us their surplus to requirement attacking midfielder just in case we nip them to fourth place. I mean, give me a break. I mean, it's just, I mean, what can I say? I mean, what I will say in Man United's favour, if they play Lingard because Mason Greenwood cannot play for the rest of the season, so that Lingard gets more than the 4 minutes or whatever he's had in the first half of the season, then fair play. I can understand keeping a quality player like Lingard, because Lingard should not be on the bench getting splinters. He needs to be on the park. But if he sits on the bench for the next 6 months because they're scared a little of West Ham, Man United.
Do you think we wasted too much time chasing him, Chris? Do you think we should have let it go and followed someone else?
Of course we did. Of course we did. Look, I tell you what, it doesn't look very good on the board. And I'm afraid to say, it doesn't look very good on David Moyes. That with 2 hours to go, you have not got a replacement for an injury-prone striker like Antonio. Sorry, first, I don't know what you've done so far. But the fact is, we know, and it's been great so far, Antonio is going to spend a few weeks out on the bench. And I'm sorry, Yarmolenko ain't cutting it. Yarmolenko is not a Premier League striker. So who's going to go there? Are you really going to put... I mean, Bowen's done very well, got plenty of goals this season. He's not. He's not your number 9. So it's obvious to everybody. And surely, at some stage, maybe in the first 2 weeks, if it ain't going to happen, if Lingard is really playing to go into Newcastle, okay, move on, son. You're not the guy we thought you were. I mean, in fact, to be fair, the fact that Lingard went back to Man United after the loan spell, he should have been with us in the summer. That's the real thing with Lingard. He should have been with us in the summer. The idea that, yeah, like you guys, but I want to go back to my old girlfriend. Is that? Could you imagine? You got your girlfriend goes, oh yeah, I really like you, but I want to go back to my old boyfriend because I had fun. Yeah, great summer, great year. But I want to go back to my old boyfriend, and then start teasing you. But I might come back if you hold on. Oh, give me a break.
I think I've been in that exact situation actually.
You've been the boyfriend picking between the girls, Gonzo. I know you.
Oh yeah, oh lovely. Yeah, that'd be nice.
I don't know, fellas. I don't know. I don't know what the other what the West Ham fan base really think. But it's been a disappointing, and all of this nonsense about Calvert-Lewin and all the other people who are supposed to be in for nonsense. I mean, yeah, I'm in for them as well for Leighton Park Rangers. Yeah. I was gonna get them for my club too. I offered a tenner. Funny enough, I didn't get them. I mean, come on. I mean, you've got to give us a break. You know, we can see through it. And I think actually this time round, I don't know about you, but, well, I mean, I know it's your job to follow the news. I tuned out a long time ago. A long time ago, I knew it's just not happening, fellas. It just ain't happening. Because when you'll see, have you seen Everton? Have you seen Everton? They've got their manager, boom. They've got their players. No messing about, no underbidding, no haggling, no sort of like pretending we're down at, what's that place at Liverpool Street? I can't remember, Petticoat Lane or whatever it is, doing a little bit of hassling. Boom! How much you want? Take the money, shut up. Let's go, next. Boom! Take the money, shut up. Boom! That's what you do, don't you? If you really want it, you go in, boom, there's a wedge. Shut up, give us a player. You do it properly, don't you? You don't put, you're going for a tenner. Yeah, no, but no, sorry. This guy's worth £5 million. Yeah, no, but we'll give you a tenner. Oh, we'll put a bid in for him, though. Come on.
Do you believe we even bid, Chris, for Rafinha, Callum Phillips? Do you
No
believe
chance.
we even bid for?
No chance. Absolutely no chance. Yeah, come on. Why would Leeds sell Phillips and Rafinha to us? Why would they? That'd be like saying, okay, we're going down. Why would they do it? Well, of course we've not. I saw a lovely clip on YouTube with Simon Jordan talking about, I'm sure you've seen it, but talking about David Sullivan, and I don't know David Sullivan, coming in when we played Palace and talking about Andy Johnson slating him, and then going away and 6 months later saying that he put in a bid for Andy Johnson. And Simon said, no, he didn't. No, he didn't. He didn't put in a bid. Nothing. Not a farthing. So this is his modus operandi. And I'm sorry, because I am not actually a board baiter or a board hater. It's not my style. But this win, it's been really, really cheap. You cannot tell me that you had 40, 50 million pounds in your coffers and you couldn't get yourself a striker. Sorry, you can't tell me that. You can't tell me that Newcastle can go to Burnley and nick their striker and we couldn't go and get a striker. You're not serious, fellas. Just tell me, okay, you're not serious. And as we slide down the table, and okay, maybe Moyes thinks, look, we're all on all fronts. We'll go for the FA Cup. We'll go for the for Europe for the competition that we're in now. Maybe Moyes thinks we've got enough for that. But don't be surprised if Antonio gets injured. We lose another centre back, and you rely on Diop and Dawson because Zuma gets a little injury again. It didn't come up too early, and you rely on Dawson and Diop, and we come tumbling down. And we end up. And look, we're West Ham. We have a run in FA Cup, have a run in Europe, and we finish 8th or 9th. We're West Ham. We can't complain. It's just that we were so close. We were so near. And it's just so obvious for the last 2 or 3 years, we need a backup for Antonio. It's just so obvious. I mean, what else can I say, fellas?
If Chris, if we signed an adequate backup to Antonio and perhaps cover for the centre-back position in January, do you think we'd have a chance at least of qualifying for European football again next season and competing in the Europa League for the remainder of the season?
Well, I mean, obviously, you can't just... What we can't do was it the 2016 season where we just bunged in loads of players and they're all substandard and none of them were good enough for the bench.
Did you say bummed in loads of players, Chris?
Bummed in, mate. I was
going to say we don't encourage that sort of behaviour.
Maybe that's where we're going wrong in negotiations.
That's what everyone else is doing. That's what they're all doing. That's why Aston Villa could get so many players in. They're bumming them in, and we're
you know what?
We're too
you know what I
straight.
actually thought? Now, I actually thought, honestly, I know what's happening. We're gonna get Aubameyang.
I thought it as well. I did.
No, I did. No, I did. I actually thought, I know it's all quiet because it's going to be a deadline signing, and Aubameyang's going to come off for 6 months, and we're going to pay his wages. The old, the Czech owner is going to pay his wages, and we're going to get Aubameyang. I really did think that. I also thought we'd get Tarkowski. I know it's going. Burnley, they're offloading because they're going down. We're going to get James Tarkowski. I thought so. Nah, Akabuzi, shut up, son. Go to sleep.
Well, we might have got Aubameyang. But Gonzo called him Aubameyang, and that put him on a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I started searching for him. I was so convinced at one point, I ended up watching half a video of him having his car wrapped in cellophane. Very expensive business, by the way.
Yeah.
That's he's the exact wrong type of profile. Moyes would never sanction a move for someone like Aubameyang, not a chance. And I think to some extent, I think Moyes' policy, while it is good to rule out players like Aubameyang and stuff, I think that's his strength. But I think it's also his weakness because he misses up opportunities where he perhaps should go and get a player. I think it's his Achilles heel, to be honest with you, David Moyes. This whole Moyes MOT test, we call it, when he's looking at a player. He doesn't just buy a footballer, he buys a man as well. He needs both of them. He needs the footballer and the man. It's all very admirable. When it works, great, hallelujah. But the problem is, it takes a little bit too long. It's over a year since we sold Sebastian Haller. I don't know if this is correct, but I've seen someone earlier saying, since we sold Sebastian Haller, David Sullivan's divorced his wife and married his next one. So he's actually replaced his wife quicker than he's replaced the striker at West Ham. There you go. There's a fun fact for you. But the Lingard thing frustrates me, right? Because it's been obvious since day dot. Before the window opened, it was obvious Man U will not deal with West Ham. And here we are today, still trying to get... Well, what's the point? They're not dealing with us. It's not because we're not offering enough money. It's not because of anything like that. It's purely down to league position. Now, unless we've slipped 10 places in the league since we last played, Man, you were never going to be open to letting him go out, even with Jesse pleading. They were only going to let him go to Newcastle or Burnley or something down the bottom of the table where it doesn't impact Man U. Man U just, you're right, they are worried about West Ham, but that's exactly why we're just wasting time. We're beating our head against a brick wall trying to get Jesse Lingard back today. When I saw the rumours earlier, I thought, what are we doing? If it's true, why are we even bidding for him? It's completely pointless. It's got nothing to do with finances. And you see how they were treating Newcastle. Well, you can have him on loan, but we want 9 million if you stay up as a bonus. That is what they were doing. They're holding Newcastle over a barrel. And I just think we've wasted time today. This Darwin Nunez thing, I've seen just before we went live, I've seen it. Oh, West Ham wanted him, but there wasn't enough time. I'm sorry, but bollocks. There was plenty of time. There's 31 days. You've just decided to wait until day 30 before you launch a bid for him. And then there is no time left. So either Moyes decided too late that he wanted Darwin Nunez. Moyes took way too long in the window to decide that's the man he wants. Or Sullivan didn't want to actually buy him, and he's waited this long to put the bids in, lowballing it. No, he's going to get knocked back, so he can eventually go, oh well, look at that. We've run out of time. We'll see in the summer if we ran out of time, because if that's David Moyes' man, we'll go after him in the summer. But this smacks of En-Nesyri. We did it with En-Nesyri a year ago. We tried to get him. Oh, we can't get him. Then he just disappeared off the face of the earth. Summer come out, we didn't even want him. No, En-Nesyri, don't know who that is. It's rubbish. It's the same thing again. This Darwin Nunez is Yusuf En-Nesyri II at West Ham. We've seen it, the exact same thing last January. And it's just not good enough, to be honest with you. It's not good enough. Sullivan ain't backing Moyes properly. Moyes is letting the fan base down, in my opinion, by not selecting his targets adequately. This is a rare opportunity for West Ham. We're in a rare position where we could actually capitalise on where we are. A year ago, we were fourth in the Premier League when we signed Lingard, but there was no evidence to sort of back up that West Ham would remain in European places. Everybody thought it was a bit of a flash in the pan. Understandably, we did. Me and Gonzo were doing videos laughing that we're still fifth and fourth in the league with 5 games to go. We're thinking we might actually qualify for Europe here. Even with 5 games to go, we're still a little bit suspicious we wouldn't make it. But this window is completely different. We've got 2 years of evidence. That little tournament after COVID where we were one of the best teams in the Premier League. Then we've gone on to finish 6th. We've now maintained that. We're 5th at the minute. We've got 2 years of evidence. This is no longer flash in the pan stuff. We'll never be in a better position to lure someone to West Ham United. This window is a huge opportunity to attract players we couldn't normally attract. We've done zilch. Nothing. Nada.
So I'm going to sort of lower the tone, because actually I don't think we're ever going to, because we will not do it, and it's going to happen, I think, in summer. When Declan Rice gets sold, we will use his money. And if I'm Declan Rice now, and I'm sitting here watching what's gone on this summer, and I'm getting touted in the air from all my friends up at Man United and Chelsea, Mason Mounts have come to us. Jesse says, come up to us. Mate, I'm gone. And we will get, I don't know, 80, 90, 100 million quid if we're lucky for him. And then the board will try to reinvest the money. Only problem is, whatever we get in is going to be a pale example of Declan Rice. Kral, clearly not good enough. I mean, even Phillips, and sorry, any Leeds fans listening, even Phillips, not the same quality as Rice. But that's going to happen. We will get rid of Rice. We will look for somebody, I don't know. For example, I actually did even think this. I know when Martial went to Barcelona, okay, maybe not. But I thought, Rice, and we might get a couple of those Man United players, like Martial. I'm trying to think of Tom
McTominay.
McTominay, that's the guy. McTominay. And McTominay's obviously not standard of Rice, but I could see him working for us. Kral, I saw him when he was at the whatever that European team, was nowhere near, never going to be good enough, and he'd be off-ski. But we're going to be losing Yama, Fredericks, Kral, and unfortunately, I actually do believe Rice is gone in the summer. I think he's gone in the summer. And then all of a sudden, we'll have some money, but it'll be too late, because we've taken the jewel out of our crown, and everything has to be a pale shadow of what we're in at the moment. And that's my downer. That the fact that we signed no one in this window tells me Rice is off in the summer. Sounds, fellas.
No, I listen. We agreed just before you came on. We were saying, more or less the same sort of thing. This is confirmation for Rice. If Rice had certain beliefs of what West Ham were, which is basically a medium-sized club, this would have shown him. We needed to demonstrate to Rice in this window that we had ambition and we were going to push forward. Rice is now. There's no answer. Moyes has no answer to Rice now. When Moyes can now no longer beg Rice to stay for any longer, because Rice can rightly say, mate, I've given you 18 months, 2 years. Things aren't moving along as quickly as we thought they would. I can't wait for you. Look, Moyes can't bring in one player at the moment. Declan Rice can't wait for Moyes to bring in the 5 or 6 required to get us up to Champions League standards. It's as simple as that, really.
100%. And I tell you what, quickly behind him is Gerard Bowen. If it's true that Liverpool in for him, I'm not quite sure it is true, but if they're in for him, they'll take him. They'll get him. Because why would you hang around with us lot when we can't back you up, when Liverpool are clearly going to be going places, because they're even now, in this window, buying more players. They're already ahead of the pack, and they're buying more players. So why would Bowen stay with us? So, and that's it. Once you start asset stripping like that, and I'm afraid it's going to happen. Rice definitely is gone. And it wouldn't surprise me if Bowen is gone. Then all of a sudden, our team begins to look a little bit tired. Where's our flair? Where's our goals? How many more seasons has Antonio got in him? Where's the backup? Well, okay, we'll have Rice money. We might spend, but the team will be poor. A poor example than what we are now. So there you go. That's my real fear. Having looked at what's going on today, or not even today, as you said, Gio, it's not today. It's the last 31 days. Having looked at that, no, we're not serious. We're not serious.
Right, Chris, before you disappear, because I know you've got a really early start, we've got some questions coming in for you, and they're a bit fun. We've been ranting. There's some fun ones coming in. So let's have a little look. Gordon says, who's your favourite current player?
Well, obviously, it'd be easy to say Rice, and it'd be easy to say Bowen, but let me get a little bit more. I'll tell you what. My current favourite player at West Ham is young Ben Johnson. I mean, he's not really my favourite player, but I can't do the obvious. I really like Ben Johnson. I like the way he's fitted in. I like his utility aspect. I don't know why we haven't tried him out at centre back. Obviously, but other people know. But he's cool, he's calm, he's collected, he's got a good feet. He's aggressive. I really like him. And I like the idea that someone can come in from our academy and actually stake his place in that team.
Is it because he's got an athlete's name, Chris?
Yeah, we don't want that naughty business.
No, we got a lovely young lad in the academy called Carl Lewis coming through. You should see him.
Great down the wing, just can't have the ball.
A bit stroppy as well.
Will's asking, how fast can you do the 400 metres now?
Well, yeah, I'm not surprised. I probably can do it in about, let me think, probably about 12 seconds. I've got a Bentley in the garage.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean running? Oh, so. Nah, I mean, a day and a half. You need a candle for me now. I mean, I did try about 10 years ago to do a 400. And at 60 seconds, I was still at 30 meters to go. Look, mate, it's gone. Gone, dead. It's finished. You haven't got those dendrites. Sorry, dendrites are there, but the fast twitch fibers, they're gone. You actually can't do it. If I try and sprint, I pull my calves before my hamstrings. So it's gone. Gone, finished.
Chris says, who wins in the race out of you, David Gold, and Mark Noble?
I think I could put both of those. Mark, sorry, fella. I can still hear you, son. I can still hear you, Mark.
The twitch muscle ain't gone that much. He was playing it down. Now he's seen the opposition. He's up for it. He wants a race.
That's what that muscle stuff is. What Antonio says when he's asked to play 3 games in a week. It's the fibers, they're gone. I can't do it.
Exactly
Sorry,
right.
Dave.
You know Antonio's coming back injured from Jamaica, don't you? You know he's coming back injured from Jamaica. Soz, fellas. You know it. Soz. I'm going to down there again.
It's all right. I'm scrolling. There's a lot of comments. It's hard. Gonzo vouch for him. It's hard to keep up with the comments.
No, it really is. It really
right,
is.
Here's a good one. You're a Mr. Motivator. You're Mr. Motivator. So Alan says, if you were David Moyes, Declan Rice comes up to you to ask what happened in the transfer window. What are you saying to reassure him?
What would I say to Declan Rice in the transfer window?
Just going to lie to him.
You got to lie. You got to lie.
Well, I would say don't make any decisions right now, Sam. Keep on doing what you're doing. We've got someone in the junior ranks who's going to come in and bang in some goals for you, and you need to be a leader. You need to be the leader, and you just never know. We might win the FA Cup, and we might win the FA Cup. You just never know. But yeah, I'll be lying at my back teeth. I don't know what. Sorry, but again, this is really tough. What would you say? I just say, Declan, sorry, but the realities of football are. But you are the guy we can pin our hopes on, and we can do it. We need to believe in this, win it together. We need to believe in it, and we can actually win something this year. And you're going to be lifting a trophy this year. I'll try to make him feel Captain Invincible, and convince him that he is going to galvanise the squad that we've got to lift a trophy this year. And all the eyes are on you, Declan.
I'd guilt trip him.
Dan, you spelt your name wrong. Don't worry, I get that all the time. People spell my name wrong as well.
Yeah.
What's your favourite all-time West Ham goal?
Trevor Booking, header, 1981, FA Cup, Arsenal. 1980, Arsenal. Yeah. That's my favourite because we won something. I mean, there's been some great, fantastic goals. Di Canio's kick was great. Yeah, and there's been some great goals. Sinclair, great goals. Payet, if I can use his name, great goals. But when you are in the cup final, that stooping header, if a guy doesn't like to use his head, and it goes into the onion basket, and you've won. I could say Taylor. I remember those. Boom, boom. Taylor. It's got to be winning something. So take your pick.
Good man, Chris. Right, we won't keep you any longer. I know you've got a really early start in the morning and you've got to get to London and stuff. But listen, thank you very much for joining us.
Hopefully, Geo Gonzo, I'll wake up in the morning and I've been proved wrong. And Aubameyang isn't at Barcelona. He's at Upton Park. Oh, sorry, London Stadium.
that's a proper West Ham answer, isn't it?
The paperwork didn't go through because he was at Upton Park. Yeah, brilliant.
Maybe that's where Coletta Carr is right now. He's outside Upton Park going, Dave told me to you. What's going on? Brilliant. Chris, thank you.
Cheers, mate. Take care. Bye-bye.
What a guest, Gonzo. What an absolute guest.
Hey, mate, he's been with us from the start, my friend. From the start.
Anyway, while we got you all here, we want to point you in the direction. Even though West Ham have signed no player, doesn't mean you can snap up something of yourself. One of these bad boys. If you go to manscaped.com, you put anything you want in your basket and you put in the code HammersChat, you get 20% off. So while David Sullivan is offering 20% under the asking price for a pair, you can get 20% off and it gets accepted. That's news to David Sullivan. As a man who has groomed himself over the years, using the old wet shave, a few nicks and scratches, I can assure you that this thing is the best thing that you'll ever get. Myself and Gonzo only work with brands that we're happy to promote. We got one of these. We did the old testing of it. Spent many nights in the showers separately, and we can confirm these things are absolutely fantastic. And the best thing about it is the torch. The torch you didn't know that you needed. You might be thinking, why do I need a torch? If you get one, you'll know why you need a torch. And once you go torch, you can't go back. So get the best package to look after your package, especially with Valentine's Day coming up around the corners, gentlemen. The link is in the description below. Type in the code TimesChat, 20% off everything and free delivery. Free delivery. Happy days. Right, Gonzo. Back to deadline day. As I was saying about the Jesse Lingard thing, that wound me up a little bit. The fact that we were chasing Jesse Lingard today, when it's been obvious for some time, man, you just don't want to deal with this. It felt like wasting a crucial time, pointless bids. I think Simon Jordan was bang on. In regards to David Sullivan's bid, I was away at the weekend. I saw them on Friday. It was a mystery £50 million bid for mystery striker. I thought, right, okay, happy days. We're getting somewhere. I don't know who. Rafinha. I thought, what? Makes no sense. I couldn't even work out why it would be Rafinha. I didn't believe the bid, but I couldn't even work it out. Then Calvin Phillips come out, his teammate. I thought, right, okay, now it's just getting a little bit silly now. Now, the Nunez one, I actually believe we bidded for Nunez, but we'll get on to that in a minute. The other stuff was phantom bids. I do believe it's just David Sullivan making up complete and utter bollocks. He's done this in the past. All we have to do is look at Sporting Lisbon. It was a deadline day thing again when that email came out. When Sullivan leaked the email to make himself look good, but ended up making himself look worse. Do you remember that when Sporting Lisbon were saying, you've not even bid for William Cavallo? And Sullivan said, yeah, we have. And they said, well, go on then, Dildo Brothers, prove it. And Sullivan leaked this god-awful email on Sky Sports with grammar errors and at the
terrible.
end, PS, if you don't sell it to him, we're going to loan a player from PSG. It was ridiculous. So he's got previous for doing this. Okay. Come into the end of this window just completely unprepared. The Nunez thing, I kind of get it, but it's like you've said, what's the point? What incentive are you offering Benfica? Unless you're going to pay well above the odds, you ain't going to get him. You've left it far, far too late. I'm just saying now that people are saying in the live chat that Marseille confirmed Kalakar is staying. I think we were resigned to that a little bit. There was some chat prior to going live that we may make a last-minute bid, if you like. But anyway, I've been staying calm. The next guest is not for 15 minutes. So I can have a bit of a rant, Gonzo. I think we've absolutely fucked it this window. I do. I'm not very happy about it. I think we are in such a prime situation as a football club. We've been wanting European, but prior to Europa League, we kept getting told, we can't get that player. He wants European football. We can't get this player. He wants you. It was used as an excuse for West Ham not to be able to conduct business, that player wants European football. We finally get it. Now some of the players want champ. All right, okay, we've upgraded the competition now. So specifically the competition we're not in, right, fine. But even let's just accept that. We're still in European football. We have that lure. It should open up a different pool of players, and we're not utilising it at all. And I believe it does. I believe there are players out there that do care if you're in European football or not. There is. That's part of the reason why Wesley Fofana originally chose West Ham United over Leicester City a year ago, because Leicester were in the European football. West Ham weren't. Fine. We lost out because of European football. That's all right. But then you've got to take advantage of that. When you have European football on the table, you've got to use that to get the players in. We're in such a good position. We're fifth in the table right now. If you got the right reinforcements in, it's probably an easy sell to a player as well. Come to a London club. Look, we're fifth in the league. We have a strong end to the season. We're going to be playing European football next season as well. It's not just a flash in the pan. And at the minute, my confidence of seeing European football at West Ham is decreased dramatically with the transfer window. And perhaps I need to go to more games where we concede a 93rd minute to come out with some analogies using household goods. But I'm going to stick with my curtain analogy. I'm going to stick with that because, okay, Moyes will claim he only wants top players in. He wants someone that's going to replace Antonio. If you can't find one of them, I will accept it. I don't agree with him, but I will accept it. I will accept that he can't find somebody to spend 50, 60 million on to replace Antonio. Because there's not that many strikers that are in that elite category, okay? We've been linked to some of them. But if he hasn't found the one, he can't get him. Okay, fine, I accept it. I don't agree with it, but what I can't accept at all is that we can't find an upgrade on Yarmolenko for the bench. I just don't. No, not a chance. We are going to be playing Watford a week tomorrow in the Premier League. I know we've got the FA Cup game. I'm dismissing that one because we should be okay regardless. We're playing Watford. If we need a goal, we're going to have to bring on Andre Yarmolenko. Now, if that guy was scoring goals this season, improving his worth, I think, right, fair enough. He deserves a chance. He's had his chance. Yarmolenko's had 5-6 months as the second choice striker. He's not taking it. We needed somebody in. Antonio played for Jamaica the other night. He's got his goal. Well done. He's got another game coming up. That'll be his third game in a week for Jamaica before he comes back to West Ham. It's a missed opportunity. It's a massive gamble, and it's just sheer incompetence. And I blame Sullivan and Moyes for this. A lot of people blame Rob Newman too. I understand. I accept why they will. Personally, I'm not. I'm pointing at Moyes and Sullivan because they've both got history. Moyes has got history of dithering. Everton fans called him Dithering Dave for a reason. He's got history of taking ages to decide his targets. Sullivan's got history, as we know, of being crap at negotiating. There's plenty of evidence of that. So when you combine the two, it's a horrendous formula. It's a horrendous combination to be going into any transfer window with. It's not the first time at West Ham we've had this problem. Go back to the summer. We still didn't get a striker. Go back to last January. We never got a striker. It's always just inadequate from them two as a combination. And I'm sick of it because this week we asked fans to buy their Europa League tickets, right? Europa League price tickets come out. Buy your ticket. 50 quid, 60 quid, depending on what brand it was more expensive than it had been. Buy your Europa League ticket. The deadline to buy your ticket expires before the draw. So you've got to buy your ticket before you know who West Ham have got in the next round. Now, happy days, you get Barcelona. It's quite a cheap ticket. You get Sheriff. All of a sudden, the ticket looks expensive. But what the club are saying to you is, well, what they're doing is they're exploiting your loyalty there by blackmailing you to some extent, going, you've got to buy your ticket before you find out, or you don't get your seat kind of thing. But fine, so they're exploiting you a little bit. But what they're doing is they're banking on your loyalty as a fan to support the club in European football. Fine. But then give the fans something back. You can't just... Remember that video clip a few years ago that Nicky used on a video West Ham on TV of them turning a fan upside down and shaking him so the money fell out? It was a little bit like that. Shake it, get all your money out, have a little bit of that. Well, you've got the money now. Well, go do something with it. You're asking fans to back the club because of the journey of European football, but at the same time, you're reluctant to spend money to continue the European football beyond this season. You can't have it both ways. And I think it's taking a piss out of the fan base, to be honest with you. I don't think Sullivan's done right by David Moyes. I don't think David Moyes has done right by the fan base. I think it's been a horrendous fuck up, quite frankly, by not getting a striker. I think we need a centre-back. I think we also need a left-back. But a striker at least to finish this window again. Moyes said he'd been looking for 2 years for a striker. They've not found one. And I've used the word before, and some people complained about it. I don't care. I'm sticking with it. It's my opinion. It's incompetence. If you've looked for a striker 2 years and can't find someone, that is just sheer incompetence. It's not good enough. We are having a great season. I'm not talking about Moyes' tactics or what he's done for the club. I'm talking about this January transfer window, and that is all. And the performance of the manager and the chairman is just not fucking good enough, to be honest with you, Gonzo. It's taking the piss. It's taking the piss. They've done so well to get into this position, and they're just not capitalising on it at all. And as I always say to you, you're either going forwards or backwards in football. There's no such thing as standing still. We've lost back-to-back Premier League games in the build-up to this. We feel like we're dropping out of form while other teams are coming into form. Like you said, Spurs have strengthened a little bit as well. Villa strengthened. Everton have, but I'm not really arsed about them. They're too far away from us. Wolves are quietly going about their business as well. I will be shocked if we finish 5th or greater at the end of this season, and it will come down, like you said, there is a correlation that when Antonio's struggling and he can't play 3 games in a week, when Europa League comes round again, I'm sorry, there's no excuses anymore. There's just absolutely no excuses. We thought Moyes was right with his excuses at the Leeds game when he said, well, what can I do? Well, you've had 2 weeks to window. Well, actually now you've had 31 days and you've done nothing. Done. Your excuses for not having a striker's over with now. It better bloody work, but I've just got absolutely no confidence in it working. Anyway, I'm going to stop ranting and sip my Highland Spring.
Look, everything you said is true. Very, very true. But I think there's something being massively missed here. Massively missed. Let's suppose that what you say for a moment is true. Let's say that there were phantom bids made to try and appease the fan base to suggest that we had bid for players by Sullivan. All right, let's suppose that's true. We're in massive trouble. Because if that's the case, one of 2 things are true. It means that either Kretinsky is complicit in that, And Sullivan has explained his tactics, and Sullivan has said to Kretinsky, this is how I conduct transfer business. And Kretinsky said, nice, got it. Or it's not true, in which case it's going to be a massive fallout at board level. There's no in between, because if you invest hundreds of millions in something, you are either fully aware of the strategy, because what you're talking about is a strategy there. Fool the fans into thinking bids have been made. Now, you're either with that strategy, or you've just invested hundreds of millions in something where you found out that the guy steering the ship, of which you've just bought a large chunk, is actually doing something dodgy. That's dodgy. What you're saying there is dodgy, right? That's underhand tactics. That's unfair. Now, that's all well and good if what you do is you suppose that happens when Brady and Golden Sullivan are all there together and they've been doing it for years. That's all because they're all together. They've been doing it for years. That's fine if young Jack and young David Sullivan are on the board, because that's Dad's. That's what Dad does or whatever. For a new person coming in, for him to be complicit in that, well, that's really something, isn't it? Now, what that means is bad news for West Ham altogether, because if he is complicit in that and he's been part of it, and because they have convened that board and he has sanctioned that as a tactic, then we've got major problems, because it means who we've got in is no better than what we have in place in the first place. And I just wanted to put this in here because I did ask a question earlier and someone put it in. I did star it. I'm so sorry. Where is it? I asked earlier. Oh, there it is. I asked earlier on what I said now, because this is the thing, it puts scrutiny on people. Kretinsky's record signing at Sparta Prague, and he's been there for over 10 years, is 3.38 million. And you have to start looking at this now as well. So what is it? What's going on here? Because either he knows or either he doesn't. As I say, if he doesn't, we're in for a massive fallout now, because there's no way. Basically, he either invested in something that's going to grow and going to expand, or he is invested knowing exactly the state of play, and this is what we're going to do, and we're going to take the status quo, we're going to keep it as it is. Sullivan has been in this game long enough, and has experience of West Ham fans be unhappy to know that if he gets through this window without signing anyone and we start losing, then he is basically asking for unrest amongst the fans again, because that's what will happen. That he managed to find some sort of balance because the team were doing well, but we're not going to stand for this again. The fans are not going to have this sort of thing, because we've had a glimpse of glory, if you want. And as I say, the worst hasn't happened yet. We haven't lost a single game, but the suspicion is that we will. And this is why I think almost everybody is to blame in all of this. I really do, because it's just so much is being put on Sullivan and Moyes. There are other factors that play here. It's the first time we've ever had a full board. How is Sullivan, if this is the case, how is Sullivan able to wield this much power still? I can't understand it. I can't understand how collectively Moyes, the backroom staff, the whole board can think that getting someone in now was a bad idea. And also, you do your curtains. I'll give you one as well, right? The way we're bidding for players is stupid. It's completely and utterly naive. It has no bearing on whether the people that are going to be selling it has any benefit for them. A transaction has to be mutually beneficial. You can come to me, Geo, and you can turn around. You can come around to me. If I'm on my drive, about to drive my daughter to school on the school run, you could turn up and say, I'd like to buy your car. I'd have to say, look, mate, I can't. I'm on the school run now. No, I'll give you $3,000. Look, mate, honestly, I can't get another car. I've got to go on the school run. I'll give you £3,100. No, mate, you're not understanding. I can't sell you my car. It doesn't matter. I can't do this. I have to go somewhere. And this is what we've done. We've given people no incentive to sell whatsoever. And I think they think they're being a little bit coy and a little bit crafty by leaving it late. Do not tell me that we woke up the night before last, think, we want the fella in Benfica. That's who we want. We've been putting scouts into place for months. Okay. Rob Newman's been in there since September. Look, he was on gardening leave for 6 months before that. Don't tell me that there wasn't, I know we're not meant to say this. Don't tell me there wasn't a little conversation where he said, actually, there's this player playing in Portugal, there's this player playing in Brazil, or this, that, and the other. Why does it seem like we just woke up 2 nights ago and said, this is who we're going to get? I think Moyes is a big, big factor in that. I think Sullivan's a massive factor, but not getting deals over the line. Because one is true. Either they were phantom bids, in which case, as I said, we got massive issues at boardroom level. Massive. Multi-million-pound massive issues, or they were real bids. If they were real bids, then we've got even more of an issue, because the guy that we appointed to get the deals over the line, that's what we've been told. Sullivan's not doing the negotiations. Rob Newman's doing negotiations. It means that he's tried to get in a striker from Benfica. It means that he's tried to get in 2 players from Leeds and to get Jesse Lingard over the line. He's attempted 4 deals and none of them have got over the line. Now, I think they're naive deals to try and attempt. Really naive deals to try and attempt, for all the reasons I've explained. But this is my point. We think we have got, we've not made a side, we've got collective issues across the whole parameters of everybody involved in the football side of that club in terms of recruitment. Training ground, drills, tactics, fine, great. Buying players, we're a collective mess.
What I will say, though, I've got 2 things. First of all, that comparison to his record transfer, I don't think that's fair, because the Czech League's completely different, isn't it? What's that equivalent to in the Premier League? If you look at average prices and stuff, that could be the equivalent of 50 million for a Premier League record or something. I don't know. I think it's a difficult thing. Was Souček not a record sale from the Czech League at 60 million? I think he was the most expensive player ever to leave that league. I could be wrong.
The only reason I say, sorry, I know you want to make your second point. The only one I say is everybody's having a go at everyone. This guy's getting a free pass. I think everyone's assumed that when he's come in, he's the new Messiah and he's going to take over the club. And I'm not so sure.
Because we've seen all this before, though, haven't we? We've seen this bollocks from Sullivan and this bollocks from Moyes in the past. It's nothing new. So,
no, but what are we saying? This guy's a shrinking violet who won't say anything. Okay, Mr. Sullivan, yeah, however you do things, I'll just play along.
He told us, though, when he invested the shares, Kretinsky released a statement which says, I'm not changing anything in regards to January transfer window. He basically said, don't expect a war chest. I think that was a phrase. He said, I like what Moyes is doing, and I'm going to let Moyes continue doing what he's doing. I think he was suggesting he's going to have a hands-off approach, and he's not going to start changing the way that West Ham have been doing things. Whether you agree with it or not, I think that's what he's doing. I'm willing to give Kretinsky a free pass, because he warned us as soon as he come in that he wasn't going to be writing blank checks or anything, and that he wasn't going to be changing anything up. The other point, which you said, is Kretinsky involved in this? What I will say, and this is sort of a defense of Sullivan, believe it or not, those phantom bids for Calvin Phillips and Rafinha might have been smoke screens while they were trying to work on Nunez, make everyone think we're working on stuff with these Leeds United players. We're trying to get this Benfica one done, which is fine, but make sure you get the bloody Benfica one done then, because what you're doing is you're raising fans' hopes and expectations with the Leeds rumours. And we've seen it in the summer. I was trying to remember earlier that we thought we were after someone. It was like Zuma. It was all Milankovic, and something was like, bang, Zuma's back on. There he is. He's doing his medical. Wow, that escalated quick. Well, did it really? Or did the board encourage all this links to Milankovic while he went about the Curtis Zuma thing? And it was the same with Areola. We didn't really know about Areola. We'd linked to him a bit, linked to Sam Johnson and stuff. And then all of a sudden we woke up one morning and he was in Rush Green having a medical. I don't know about that. Where'd that come from? So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt with these fake bids, because I think they were fake bids on purpose to try and distract, not necessarily fans, other clubs, especially with Newcastle sniffing around for a striker as well. If you're going after a striker, the last thing you want is Newcastle knowing who you're going after, because they can get involved too with more money, make it more difficult for you. But anyway.
Sorry, excuse me, just...
What you reading?
That mate, look, either way, it's not good. I don't understand that tactic, by the way. It clearly doesn't work. If you've got, I just don't get it. If you're going for a strike for a Benfica, let it be linked that you're going for some players from Leeds. The whole thing has been a complete and abject failure. It has to be said. And look, I am. I mean, somebody said in the chat now. Sorry, in the chat, not now. Half an hour ago. The atmosphere for the next match is going to be toxic. Well, I hope not, because I mean, as I say, look, what would you rather? We sign 2 players and finish 10th, or we sign no players and finish 6th? Obviously, I hope it's not, because I hope Moyes is right. I want to be wrong. I want Moyes to be right, that actually we can get through the season, we can be victorious this season without signing any players. I suspect he's wrong. I think we all suspect that he's wrong. And I think because of that, we're all anticipating and fearing the worst. But it's not just a fear of the worst of us going on a losing run. I think we might all be wondering, hold on, is this now back to, what we've suspected? Is this now back to a bit of, sort of asset stripping and there not being funds available? I hope there was funds available. I really do. I think the biggest fear for me now is that actually that was never there anyway. But in which case, then I have to also say the same thing about Moyes. Well, in which case is Moyes complicit? Because if that's the case, everyone has to be on this together. Then Moyes is feeding the fans lies, basically pretending there's money available, and actually there's not. Something has to be true. Something has to be true. I suspect that what you're saying is also right. Actually, there is money there. We actually do. We're almost worse than that. We're unable to spend it, which is incompetence, and that's an inability. And it's something. Whilst Moyes can be the best tactician in the world, he can, be great on the training ground. But if other clubs can sign players and we can't, we're at a massive disadvantage.
Yeah, before we get our next guest on who's ready to rock and roll, and what I will say about that is we often get told, we often hear, I'm keeping the money for the next transfer window. We've heard that about 3 times now, but the budget ain't going up. It'd be all right if last January, I'm keeping it for summer. Summer come around, we've got 80 million now. I'm going to keep a bit for, all right, come January, we've got another 80 million. We've spent some, but we're not spending summer. Oh, brilliant, we've got 150, but it's like we've almost just got 50 million to spend, despite the fact we're keeping it for the next window. The kitty don't go up. The whole thing is an absolute mess. Anyway, let's get on our next guest and see what he's thinking. Irish Tommy. Tommy, how you doing?
I've been better.
Hello, mate.
West Ham are getting on my tits in January. This is not start to the year I was looking for, to be honest. It's actually hard to believe we haven't signed a single player, and really at this stage looks unlikely that we will. There's really no excuse for it. We know that we need these players. The dogs on the street know that we need a striker. We need a centre back. At the very least, that was what we needed. We could probably do with cover for Cresswell now as well, because shipped Longello out now as well, who looked quite a promising youngster, I thought. But we're moving him on as well now. But for us to be in this situation is inexcusable, in my opinion. I think the blame lies, whether equally or not, but the blame lies, I think, with Sullivan and Moyes. I think there's blame on both sides. On David Moyes' part, I think he's on record many times as saying, look, I only want to bring a player in if I think he'll improve the first 11. And in an ideal world, that's fine. If you can get that player that you want that will come straight into the first 11 and make it better, that's perfect. It means that you get a really good player who improves the team, and it means that you, by default, strengthen the bench because the player he's taken over from gets to go and sit on the bench and is a good option from the bench. So I don't have a problem with that philosophy in and of itself. But he seems to be far too married to that philosophy, because if you look at our bench right now, it is very weak. Almost invariably during a game, you're going to be seeing Yarmolenko and Masuaku, usually the first 2 off the bench. They add nothing to the team when they're introduced. Absolutely nothing. They have no impact whatsoever. So if you can't get your number one target, for example, let's take Coletta Carr. Let's say Moyes has told Sullivan, I want to get Coletta Carr in, left-sided centre-back. We need a left-sided centre-back since we lost Agbana, because at the moment I'm having to play Zuma out of position on that side, which doesn't help. And he's better than Dawson, so this will improve the team immediately. Now, if for whatever reason you can't do this deal for Coletta Carr, and I don't see any reason we couldn't have. I think that's a deal that could and should have been done without too much fuss. But let's say for whatever reason you can't do that deal. There's nothing wrong with going and getting a player that will improve the squad. I mean, Diop, I think, has been pretty much a disaster. I think we could have gone, for example, you see today Phillips has gone from Liverpool on loan to Bournemouth. We could surely have gotten Phillips in on loan till the end of the season and then said to Newcastle, actually, yeah, you can have Diop for 15 million. Okay, we lose a bit of money on him, but at least we get a decent amount of money for him. There's nothing wrong, if you have to, with saying, okay, we're going to have a lot of games coming up second half of the season between Premier League, FA Cup. We're very likely to progress through the next round in that. We might get another nice draw, progress again. We've got last 16 of the Europa League coming up 2 legs. We need a better squad, bigger and better. There's nothing wrong with bringing in players that will improve at least the bench. Say a striker, okay, you can't get whoever it was, Ekatike, say you wanted, you can't get him. Maybe you have to wait until the summer. There's nothing wrong with going out and getting a forward who'll at the very least be a good option to come off the bench. If and when Antonio gets injured or suspended, at least you have an option who can come in and do a job. I think Moyes sometimes just gets far too dug in this philosophy about, if he doesn't come in and play straight away and improve the team immediately, then I don't want anybody. I think it's short-sighted. And the real danger for us now is that in this second half of the season, if we pick up some injuries and our suspensions, or if we start to get a bit of burnout and our performances drop off, or we have certain players in the team that are in really poor form, a la Antonio, we have no option but to keep playing them. And so this is really worrying now, because in what could be a very, very promising season, we're now in danger of having it really fall off a cliff in the worst case scenario, and ending up not qualifying at all for Europe, finishing 9th or 10th even, potentially, and going out of the FA Cup and getting knocked out of Europa League because our squad is so threadbare. And even the players that we have there on the bench as backup just aren't good enough to come in and do what we need them to do. So to me, this is inexcusable. Absolutely inexcusable. But we, it seems now, will not have a single player added to the squad in the entire month of January. So I'm very worried about it, and I'm really angry about it, actually. I can't wait to find out why this has happened, what the excuses are going to be. Because for me, I don't think any excuse is going to be good enough for this shambles of a transfer window.
You've already told us the excuse. It will be that nobody was found that was better than the players that are already there. That will be the excuse. Then we'll get told that we tried to bid for players, but not at any point will anyone in the club state the fact, the very obvious fact that we all know. See, the trouble with things like this, Tommy, is we have to be stupid. They're all counting on us being stupid, which is the obvious one, which is if you'd done it at the start of the window, you would have got a deal over the line. You would have, you got time to haggle. Simple as that. When you leave it to the last minute, you've got no time to haggle. When you leave basically you paint the selling club into a corner. They've got nowhere to move, and they say we just can't. Even if they wanted to, sorry, we can't. We just can't. They might have even identified someone. Portuguese clubs buy a lot from Brazil. You know what I mean? A Portuguese club might have turned around and said, "Do you know what? There's actually someone at Corinthians who we quite fancy, but it just ain't time to get him now. Sorry, we can't do it." And that's what won't get said. What will get said is we didn't find anyone as better than what we have. You've already given the excuse, mate.
Yeah, and when you look at the dithering that goes on, and I mean from Moyes and from Sullivan, Moyes dithers on what players he wants to get in. If he can't get his guy, he doesn't apparently want anybody. And Sullivan, when Moyes does identify a player that's gettable, like Coletta Card, dithers on the deal and just messes about, and just nothing happens in the end. And it just goes on and becomes a soap opera. We've seen it so many times over the years. It's shambolic, and it's got to stop. But you don't see any reason why it would, really. I mean, it's mind-numbing at times. It's hard to keep getting angry at it because it becomes so predictable. And the fact that we've got no striker in whatsoever, no centre back in whatsoever, when certainly there would have been deals there that could have been done. Think outside the box a little. It's hard to really put into words just how bad this is. I think the backlash once that window slams shut and there's not a single player in the door, I think the backlash from fans is obviously going to be massive, and it's not just going to be against Sullivan this time. I think Moyes is going to have to take his share of the blame.
Do you think they'll know? I think Sullivan will know. Do you think Moyes? Do you think they've got any idea that it's coming?
I think Sullivan knows, and he doesn't care. This isn't his first rodeo. Of course, for Moyes, for Sullivan, he knows that we'll be all over social media, Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and everything, going crazy, GSB out everywhere. But he doesn't care. He hasn't ever cared about any of that. It doesn't seem to bother him whatsoever. He probably doesn't see any of it. He knows about it. He knows they're not happy, and there'll be some White will be running interference for him on TalkSport, trying to play it down somehow or say it's not really his fault. January transfer window, it's not easy in January, not easy to sign players in January. Yeah, really? Frank Lampard literally just went to Everton and they've just got 2 players for him, like today.
Yeah, I'd spent money. I wonder what Rafa's thinking.
Yeah.
Rafa's thinking, hold on a second. Hold on.
Yeah,
You gave me 1.7 million for the fella, whatever, what's his name? The one that used to be at Leicester on the wing. No money for bloody Andros Townsend, and now Frank's getting all the dosh. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, he's literally just walked in the door and they're saying, all right, we've got today to try and do something. What do you want? And he's
I don't know, Everton have played a blinder here. They don't have to pay for Dele Alli until he's played 20 games. There's only 18 games left. So in theory, he could go to Everton, play the second half of the season, and they can sell him in the summer and not owe Tottenham a penny. So Everton have actually played a blinder on that deal with Dele Alli.
I'm sure there's a clause in there to stop that.
I promise you, that's the terms and conditions.
I'm sure that's how it's been reported, but I'm sure Daniel Levy, as there's a clause in there that says you can't sell him. If you do, you've got to give us some money. I mean, come on, we're dealing with the devil himself here, aren't we?
Yeah, well, I mean, this whole thing with Everton today, it just, what Moyes is going to do is come out the usual excuses of, hard to get value in January, hard to get players in, clubs don't want to sell. And it's just such an old trope, and I've never bought into this January transfer window thing. I mean, I understand it up as far as Man United don't want to send Jesse Lingard to us in January because they see us as kind of rivals for challenging for a top 4 spot. Okay, I get that. I understand Man United's thinking on that. And that's something we surely would have known before the transfer window even opened. Surely that's a 5-minute job where someone rings up and says, we'd like Lingard. And they're like, yeah, sorry, we see you as top 4 rivals. We really don't want to sell to you. That takes 5 minutes. And you'd kind of know that yourself before you even try, really. So this
we
is
were able to find out, Tommy. We at Hammers Chat knew that Jesse Lingard was unreachable, even when the obviously because I made a rod for my own back by saying that Lingard wasn't allowed to leave for West Ham and stuff. So then this afternoon, when all that rumours come out that Jesse could leave, West Ham are back in. Obviously, a few people messaged me and stuff, and that's just said it doesn't matter, Man. We haven't changed. That nothing's changed. All that's changed is the rumours. It doesn't make it true, though. And I actually believe we did go in for Jesse Lingard again today. But even that is just stupid. Man United's stance on West Ham didn't change. Their stance changed to Newcastle only, which is instead of 12 million you have to pay us to stay up, it's 9 million. They knocked 3 million off the price, which obviously Newcastle said, no, thank you, you're all right. So Man U went, well, we'll keep him then. It's all right, we'll keep him. We'd rather keep him than help out a team in the Premier League. It was just ridiculous to go after him. The blame game's already sort of started. Alan said in the chat, he's just tagged me in something, and people are obviously mentioning a certain website. I don't want to lay into them too much and stuff, because obviously Gonzo's friends with them. But I've seen the article, and it's sort of suggesting that blame Kretinsky to some extent. It's basically saying that fans wanted Sullivan to take a back seat, so Sullivan has taken a back seat, and had he not taken a back seat, we would have had a signing today. Which is just sticking 2 fingers up at the fan base, to be honest with you. Now, I'm not actually blaming that website. I think they've got that information from the board directly and said, can you put this out or something?
Well, let me jump in here. I'll tell you now. We would have made a signing, but the signing we would have signed was the Flamengo
Gabriel Barbosa,
who Moyes didn't want. That would have been a Sullivan signing.
Are you going to tell them the story? Are you going to tell them the story?
Well, as I understand it, it was Sullivan. Basically, what I would call a Wellington Paulista, which if you know what a Wellington Paulista is, basically Sullivan. It's also a Christian. I can't remember the guy's name. He was at Birmingham. He started doing it at Birmingham. He'd go to South America. He'd spot a player, and we've had it. I've done interviews with Barry Silkman before when I've mentioned that where Silkman has said Sullivan likes to buy a player. He likes to get a player, and he likes to gift one to his manager. All right. Now, we've all suspected many times that there's been players. The most recent one, let's say, is possibly Ben Rama. We suspect Ben Rama might have been a Sullivan signing. In this particular window, the whole Barbosa thing was Moyes didn't want him. Sullivan wanted him, and Sullivan. It's hard to say Sullivan went to Moyes with a deal because there was no deal, because this was also not attractive to it's Flamenco, isn't it? It's Flamenco. I think it's Flamenco. This was not attractive to Flamenco because what he was saying to Flamenco was, "Oh, we'll take him for 18 months, and if he's any good, we'll give you 30 million." Well, of course, in much the same way as Leeds wouldn't be interested or Benfica wouldn't be interested, even though this was at the start of the window. Flamenco saying, well, "Hold on a second, as you probably know, Brazil is economy's crippled at the moment. Do you know what I mean? They're not going to take that and accept that as a bid. The only deal that is going to be particularly good to Flamenco is if, you give them some money up front and they can go and buy a striker and improve their squad." But apparently the deal was put in front of Moyes, and Moyes turned around and said, "I don't want this guy. This is not..." And if anyone's seen him play for any bit of YouTube footage, you'll know. When I looked at him, I took one look at him and I thought he actually reminds me a little bit of Chicharito, actually. And as Moyes has displayed at West Ham and at Man United, he's not interested in that type of striker. It's just not what he wants. So I do agree. And sorry, while I just done that, I'm just reading. I'm reading the article. I've just read up on the article from Sean, which I've just looked at there. Yeah, I would agree. I would agree that we would have signed a player if it wasn't for Moyes, but it wouldn't have been a player that Moyes would have liked. And you may well find that it may well have been a player. What makes you question Alex Crowell makes me question where Alex Crowell came from on that. But I'm pretty sure you would have found a player who David Moyes had on the bench, but he wouldn't have used him off the bench, a bit like Alex Crowell or Areola or whatever the case may be.
But the problem here, though, apart from the fact that the wee man's trying to get his own deals done and not getting one that the manager wants instead, and he's concentrating on his own player and playing real life Football Manager again. The problem here is it's chucking people under a bus time already. The window's not even shut. There's still 25 minutes to go of the transfer window. I know we're not going to get anyone in. But the point is, while this has all been typed up, it's almost like the blame game started at the football club already. And if that started, that means they know it's not good enough, and they're almost having to justify that it's not good enough rather than making it good enough, rather than being competent. They're more interested in who gets the blame from the fan base rather than actually just getting the right player in for the manager. Oh, can't get Barbosa right. Well, let me get my keyboard out. I'll conduct an email. Blame Daniel Kutinsky. Everyone got that? Everyone on sync? We're blaming Daniel Kutinsky, this one. It's just ridiculous.
I mean, both things.
It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, but both things you've said there, Geo and Gonzo, is classic David Sullivan, or as I like to call him, Dildo Baggins. So, first thing is shifting the blame, right? Shifting the blame off of himself to say, "Yeah, we haven't got any signings, but it's not my fault. It's someone else's fault why it hasn't happened." He's got form with this. He puts out these press releases. We've always known where they come from, especially when you see it in Claret and Hugh. You know exactly where it's come from. It's Sullivan again, and Jim White will probably back him up in the morning as well, and try and kind of shift blame as well tomorrow. You can guarantee it. And the other thing that you were saying, Gonzo, as well, is that he'll just do these weird things. How did he even hear about this Barbosa? Some agent, I assume, that he knows, they said, "Oh, you like this Barbosa fella, Brazilian striker. You love this guy, really good." So
do you know? I don't even know if it's that good. I think he almost just goes on to top goal scorers in a certain league in South America and things like that. One, remember Enner Valencia? We plucked him at the Mexican second division or something. We thought he'll do. He's top goal scorer in that league. We'll whip him over.
Yeah, I think it's agents that he knows that are just giving him these names.
Maybe. He's always a
he's
out
never
in
heard
South
of.
America.
It's like, when you know someone who's like a racing insider and give you a nice tip for a horse. Oh,
Yeah.
onto a winner here, mate. Put mortgage on this horse, going to win at Chepstow today, 3:30. I think that's how he does it, Sullivan. He has these mates who like ring him who are agents.
Moyes will be trying to place a bet halfway through the race.
Yeah, and then so Sullivan goes off on this wild goose chase for some striker no one's ever heard of in Brazil, who's scored 10 goals in 21 games this season, and then tries to obviously get some kind of bizarre loan deal. 18 months, I mean, come on. Oh my God, like they did the same with Coletta Cards. These deals they try to structure. Like, if you can get a club to give you a player on loan with an option to buy, it's a very good deal if you can get it done. Because it's good for the club that's getting the player, because you can have a look at him, and if you want to buy him at the end of it, you can buy him, and if you don't, you just pack him back. Send him packing back to where he came from, only for the cheap price of a little loan fee. But I mean, Marseille were never going to go for that. Marseille need money, and they were perfectly willing to sell Coletta Care. We just had to stump up the cash, which, let's be honest, was not a lot of money. Especially, when you consider this kind of smokescreen, 50 million quid for Rafinha or 50 million quid for Calvin Phillips, which I don't believe for a second. If the board are trying to make out they could do that, then surely they could stump up the 14 million plus add-ons for Coletta Care, and that's a deal that could have been done very, very quickly. But no, it's this faffing about. Why would Marseille give us this player for a small loan fee until the end of the season that we might just send back to them? It makes no sense for Marseille to do that. And if you want to do it in a cheeky bid way and say, right, we'll chance our arm here, and then they say absolutely no chance, and they say, all right, fair enough. Look, let's do a proper deal for the guy and get him in, because David Moyes, I think, very clearly wanted Coletta Care at the club, and there's no excuse for us not having him right now as a West Ham player. And again, it's just a complete shambles. And I think this is just going to be our life now, as long as Sullivan and Gold are in charge of the club. This is just how it's going to be. It's always how it's been, and it's inexcusable. And you just wonder, really, what's really going on here. When you see deals that are very, very doable, that are not getting done, and you have to wonder, like, what's the end game here? What are Sullivan and Gold doing here? You have to wonder if this is purely them treading water just until they can sell the club. And I'm sure at this point that's what it is. They're just treading water. They don't want to make any massive outlays anymore if they can avoid it. In the summer, they might make one, like we saw with Zuma, get a deal like that done. But they're not going to splash, particularly in January. They seem to be almost allergic to spending money in January. So I think they're just coasting until they can sell the club. And I think all we can do now is pray that when Daniel Kretinsky takes over the club, which I'm sure he will, I'm sure that's the plan, that he'll do things a bit better and that he'll at least pump some money into the club. But we'll have to wait and see on that one. But it's inexcusable, and I just can't wait to see the back of them. And between that and Moyes kind of dithering, and being very stern about, this player or nothing, that just kind of exacerbates the whole problem. And that's why we're, 20 to 11, window about to shut, and we haven't been able to sign a single player when we badly needed 2 or 3 in the door.
Well, Tommy, firstly, thank you for joining us. And secondly, thank you for Dildo Baggins. I'm keeping that one, and I'm going to use that one in future as well. I did my best to keep a straight face, to not make any noise over the audio, even if it is a brief laugh. But I couldn't hold it in. I did well to hold it in for about a minute. Then I started laughing when you were talking about something normal. Tommy, thank you as always.
Cheers,
pleasure,
mate.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
See you soon, mate.
Oh, I fucking love Tommy. Oh, always good, isn't he? Good crack,
always
as they would
speaks
say
sense.
over there.
Always makes absolute sense. Always, mate.
I still think, Gonzo, I still think Sullivan's motivation's gone now. The share price being agreed I thought it was a good thing at the time. It was an encouraging thing. I think it's actually a bad thing now, because what's Sullivan's motivation for spending money? What's the point for David Sullivan, that is, what's the point in getting fourth? There's no real motivation for him anymore. There's no desire. He's agreed the share price. Arguably, he loses out if we're fourth in the league and Kretinsky decides to call it in. He loses out. I don't know. Just my theory anyway.
Yeah, I think, why would Moyes stick around him? If that's the case, then it means... Pardon?
Why wouldn't he? He's waiting for Kretinsky, perhaps. I don't know.
Well, I just doesn't really make sense. But if it's going to be 2 years, is Moyes going to wait over 2 years with no signings? If that's what we think, if we think it's Sullivan and not Moyes, why would Moyes stick around? Moyes' stock is high.
I think it's both.
Moyes can go move to another club.
I think it's both, and it's only 14 months now, isn't it? It's next March. There's only 14 months left. I think it's both to take the blame. Anyway, we've got one more guest to come up. Before we do, pardon me, live chat, we're going to get very interactive with you over the next 20 minutes or something. So keep getting all your comments into the live chat. I've got quite a few to click on. Let me delete some of these. James says that he wants a Tony Henry deadline day rant. I can't remember my rant on deadline day with Tony Henry. I rant a lot when things don't go well, so I don't recall. We've done the Jamie one. Mark's says have biscuits on him, Mark. Despite his craft moves, you lads are quality. Scott says if we needed a closer, we should have hired Harvey Specter. Is Moyes to blame here? He was given power to all transfers. Harvey Specter is, of course, in Suits. Fantastic series. Not seen it? Go watch it. No, I know you wouldn't have. Dan, 20 quid. Bloody hell, Dan. Thank you. Super sticker. Don't know. Can't see it. It's on YouTube, but we can't see it at this end, unfortunately. And Andy must have put a sticker or some sort.
Thank you, Andy. Whatever the sticker is, little Peppa Pig one.
Mr. iBase says phantom bids were there to make other clubs bump up their asking price. Oh no, they asked for too much. It's all contrived. Samuel $5 says, is Moyes arrogant enough to think he can start no centre forward like Pep? He's been doing it for a couple of years anyway, isn't he? So
I don't know. I think Moyes is confident that he can get through to the end. I do. I think Moyes believes it. I think Moyes believes that this is his best. How
can he feel when he's sat there?
I don't know.
About Antonio.
I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying I think he believes it. I really do, because otherwise he would have gone and got players.
But what I'm saying is, how can Moyes believe it himself when he stood there after Leeds saying, I need to take Antonio, but I couldn't. What could I do? So how can Moyes possibly believe he can get through? Anyway, Robert says, shambles of a transfer wound is absolutely right. Unlike this show. Good luck. It's not good luck. Good job tonight, boys. Mark said, somebody's getting the double cheeseburgers in. I think that's his McAdee's order or something. I think he's fucked it. And lastly, you start this one. I'd like to know why. I blame Danny Dyer. Why? Yeah. What's the?
As I want to know who you blame. Wrong answers only. I like that.
Okay. So wrong answers only. Who do you blame? And we'll have a look at what the chat are saying, and we're also going to add in Mr. Charlie Walsh. Charlie, how you doing?
I noticed I was on mute that time. I noticed before I started talking. Nailed it. Thank you very much. Yeah, man. Listen, I've had a chicken and bacon wrap from McDonald's, so not the only person who got the McDonald's in. It was really disappointing. It was mostly wrap, but there we go. That's just the way today's gone, hasn't it? It's just the way today's gone. What can you do?
Eat.
Right.
So I did.
Gary said, I think Arsenal and Tottenham will go past us. We are finishing 8th. I pray I'm wrong, but it's a joke. Every commentator says our squad is too small and we know it ourselves. Yeah. Mister says, I've been a season ticket holder since 1990. It's best it's ever been. I'm enjoying it. You lot are the reason we are a negative fan base in the media. Signings on everything.
Listen, let me comment on that, okay? I would agree. I agree with that, all right? And that's why I've been at every point saying, hold on, it's a perceived thing of what will happen. But let's be fair here. What you need to do is give yourself the best chance of succeeding. And that's why I said, I even said earlier, I hope we don't turn up at Kettering and expect the worst. Is it Kettering?
Kidderminster.
Sorry. All right. Sorry.
He keeps getting it wrong.
I know. I hope we don't turn up at Kidderminster and expect the worst. I hope we win. All right. I hope we beat Watford. I hope all these things. All right. I really do. And then if that's the case, and I said, I hope I'm wrong. I hope we get to the end of the season and Antonio has stayed fit and all the good things happen. But here's the problem here. You need to the suspicion is, and I suspect we've not given ourselves the best chance of doing the best we can this season by having a strong squad. If I felt that he was going to use the youngsters more, if I felt that Masuaku and Yarmolenko and people like that were in better form, if I felt that he would use Král more, then I would, if I felt he had more faith in Vlasic, I would be more confident, okay? So I've tried to mitigate this all the way along. I'm trying to preempt what would probably happen if we do start losing. Because if we do start losing, then I'm telling you, the finger's going to be pointed. Well, everyone's got someone different, haven't they? Be it Moyes, be it Sullivan, Newman, whatever the case may be. People are now ready, and it doesn't matter which individual you blame. The blame will be put on this transfer window the moment we start to lose. Sorry, I've just seen some of the comments.
Connor says maybe this is a blessing in disguise if youngsters come through and shine. Will says not happy. We don't look happy. John agrees with the theory that Sullivan wants a minimal outlay between now and when he sells up. And Scott says, Gonzo, get your baps out.
I'm not getting my baps out. Thank you very much.
Boo.
Boo.
No one wants to see that.
No
I've manscaped them. They're a bit hairy, to be fair.
Also boo. Steve says, brilliant show, guys, and brilliant guests. On the downside, it seems like they're slipping back into the old West Ham way. Zen Tommy says, our form's fallen since the Liverpool win. Lucky to be where we are now. We'll be lucky top 10. You better not tell Mr. mate. Mr. will be fuming with you if you say that. What are you giggling at, Gonzo?
That goes a bit of a hedgehog.
I'm a bit nervous to scroll down the live chat. I feel like there's something coming that's going to make me giggle, and then
there's some really good comments on there. Definitely the best part of the evening is people are blaming.
Is it the wrong answers? Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
Okay. Callum says, really, really deflated. Feels like our season is about to take a downward turn massively. That's also Rice gone in this summer.
Yes.
Ralph says, Moyes brings on Yarmolenko and Arthur Masuaku. Sometimes I think he's deluded. David says, this was our chance to keep Declan. Why on earth would he choose to stay in the summer? And West Ham 101 says, Antonio's been running to the ground. Shouldn't have given him that new contract either because he will be done after this season. Right, where are we? Michael says, a shambles. Not surprised. David says, I'm blaming Moyes. The same for his substitution. Delusional. As for Moyes Jr. and Newman, what are they being paid for? Why are you raising your eyebrows? Is it because you mentioned?
I forgot about Moyes Jr.
I
forgot about. I did. That's why I raised my eyebrows. Completely forgot that he'd employed his son. This is the thing. None of this crap is a good look when you don't sign players. This is, and I understand the reason. Everyone wants to blame someone, and we've all got our own individual things. But it's hard not to look at it and want to blame. So I just want to blame everyone. I think that's my particular one here. I've just added another one to the list, which is Moyes Jr. No one's escaping now. And did we sign? Would you sign? What's his name from Norwich as a scout?
Grant Hall.
Yeah, I blame him as well. I mean, it's just the whole thing. The whole club, in terms of recruitment, is an absolute shambles. It really is.
This is on social media. I say social media. Whenever I refer to social media, I mean Twitter. It's all I've got. On Twitter earlier, there was people obviously arguing about the blame game. And then it becomes a bit of a Moyes, don't blame Moyes debate a lot. I think if you blame the board, you tend to get away with it on social media. But you blame Moyes, I think a group of people come after you and it escalates pretty quickly. And someone said to somebody that was saying you can't blame Moyes, someone said, but David Moyes chose Rob Newman. David Moyes chose his son as a scout. What more does Moyes need in place in order for targets to come to the club? And then the guy just didn't reply. So
this
1-0 you, mate. Well done.
Well, this is the thing. I think this, and this is why I think Sean's article, and I do want to make the point on that. That's Sean's article. Sean has logged in and written that, and he's got his name festooned all over it because it's. I think the fans were already looking at Moyes anyway. I think the fans were already I don't think you needed to start saying, "Oh, don't blame Sullivan." I just don't. I think it's a bad look.
About Sean's article, and before I say this, I want to preempt this. We all three of us know this. People in the live chat have been on boats know this. I've met Sean personally. I think he's a really nice guy. Fam, you're an idiot. What the hell are you talking about? Because it's not even blaming Moyes. That's not what that article's doing. That article is just going, well, if you want to moan about it on Twitter, blah, 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 blah. It's like, well, That's what you do every day for a living, bruv. It's clickbait nonsense, bruv. And I like Sean genuinely.
Yeah, but he's not posted on there in ages. This is the thing.
It doesn't matter, bro. He ends. The last words in it are "Be careful what you wish for." My man is out here trying to step up to the plate. Fam, you're an idiot. And look, I like Sean genuinely. I really genuinely do. Whenever we've spoken to him in real life, he comes down to the boats. We have talk. We have a really nice conversation. What a man. Like, genuinely, I really genuinely do like him as a person. But, bruv, what are you talking about? It's the most clickbait stupidity I've seen in a long old time. And that's saying something. Given the platform.
Me and Gonzo did about 4 videos on Jesse Lingard this month.
That's true. Yeah, we know.
Yeah. The difference is
I don't know why he's gone in and written it. I don't know why he's gone on written it. He's not written an article in ages. He's not really writing on there anymore. And he's gone on excuse me, but Bob Fleming. It's just it just digs the fans out on a thing when I think the fans were deciding themselves who they were going to blame anyway, and I understand why people need to look to blame somebody, and it's just too wrapping Sullivan in a cuddle, saying, "Oh, don't blame Sullivan." Do you know what I mean? It's too protective, and it's actually getting a dig in at the fans before the fans have done anything. Do you know what I mean? It's anyway, yeah. There you go.
When baby Geo took his first steps into management, my manager that molded me, if you like, he told me. I remember once there was 2 workers squabbling, and I was like, "Well, we'll need to fix this argument." I think it was about holidays or something. They both wanted the same day off, and only one of them could have it. Anyway, they were arguing, and I basically said to him, "We need to fix this. What we're going to do is no." Fixing it's the last thing you do. And he said to me, as long as that lot out there is squabbling about something, they'll never look at you. As soon as that lot out there get on, look at you and argue with you. And this is what it is. It's divide and conquer. It's a classic case of divide and conquer. Throw a hand grenade out there among the fan base. Let them squabble and bicker about who's to blame and stuff. And it just takes the spotlight away from David Sullivan, actually. That's exactly what it's doing. It's removing the spotlight from David Sullivan. And it's dividing and conquering the fan base at the minute. So it's worked, clearly, because the live chat, when that article went up, the live chat was mental for it. Go read it.
I do want to make the point here. He will be in bloody bed. He won't even know that's been written, by the way. He'll wake up in the morning to an absolute crap storm because he's, because I know for a fact he'll be in bed.
Gonzo wanted wrong answers only. Gonzo, what was the question?
What was the question?
Yeah.
Who's to blame? Wrong answers
Who's to blame?
Only.
Lewis says Charlie's Bell. Jason's blaming it on the boogie. Oliver says it's blaming Payet, while Hammer 93 is blaming Pellegrini. Wissam, I thought it was Wissam. Wissam says that I blame Yarmolenko. Hardware's blaming Jermaine Defoe. Ben's blaming Kaleri, and West Ham Clips is blaming Mario Huselos. I'm surprised that's not been trotted out, actually. I'm half expecting that to be used.
The one thing I would say, which is potentially very unpopular, is when Mario Huselos and Pellegrini were here, that's probably the only time our transfers have been half competent. We actually went out and actually did stuff. We didn't waste our time. I'll say it with my chest out. I'm fine with it. Bruv, we wanted Fornals. Guess what we did? We went and bought Fornals. We didn't get our first choice because Maxi Gomez wasn't available. We went and got our second choice within like a week. We just got it done. We didn't have to waste our time waiting for people to go, oh, well, maybe we'll get this person. Maybe we won't. I'm not saying it's wrong. Listen, Henry, yeah. I got a new one now, and it's not waterproof, but it's not in the toilet, and that's the important
It's not wet. That's the main thing.
That's the main part, is it's currently working.
James is blaming.
Oh, you can't blame Joe.
Touchy. Depends if he's giving out misinformation or not. Depends who you ask. Good one there. Oliver's blaming Rio. Don't know.
Hold on. There you go. Funny enough, Tommy. I found it.
You found your muff.
Yeah.
Anyway, Leo was blaming Manscaped. Just kidding. Like and subscribe. I should actually take his advice. Do like and subscribe. Everyone's quoting Dildo Backins again. It was a good one. Good one that though. It was a good one, weren't it? Where was the ones you were laughing at, Gonzo?
Oh, so many. There's been so many have gone now. There was some truly classic ones in there. Unfortunately,
wait, hang on. Have you just worked out how to use the star comment function and then let them go by and not use the star comment function.
But I didn't know if we were going to get to that bit. I just wanted one to trigger it, and then everybody to do it, and then it's just, you know, there's been a lot going on. Plus, I've been waiting. You know, we've still got 4 minutes left, fellas. Do you know what I mean? So I've been waiting for the deal to be announced.
Well, we'll leave you here a lot longer than 4 minutes. Me and Charlie be off screen. You can sit there if you want.
There was always hope. There's always hope. Oh, I'll tell you what, though. I am waiting for the spin tomorrow. I'm not sure the spin. In fact, we might not even get any tomorrow. We might have to wait until Moyes' press conference, because I wouldn't be surprised if they blame each other. Right? I wouldn't be surprised if the board are saying, thinking, well, David Moyes, he dithered so much we couldn't get anyone in. Right? I wouldn't be surprised if David Moyes thinking, hold on, I told you yesterday who the target was. You didn't buy him. So I think maybe each one will probably think that the other one hasn't got to explain. Basically, I think I got to explain myself. It was his fault. Do you know what I mean? And that's one thing I don't like about what's going to happen is the blame game of the throwing Moyes under the bus.
One of the things I will say, and everyone knows I don't particularly like David Moyes that much, but one of the things I will say is I feel a little bit sorry for him in this situation, because he can't really blame anyone, because the only way he can do it is publicly. He can't talk to Jim White or anyone else and sort of put it out there in ways that like seep into the public consciousness. The only reason he probably has people he could talk to and try and influence in that way, but not to the same level. I feel a bit sorry for him in that sense, because look, I don't particularly like Guy, and I think he has a lot to, like you've spoken about, who's to blame, and the truth is everyone is, in my opinion. But at the same time, it's probably harsh for him, because he's probably looking at it. He has no choice. He's going to have to sit there and take the brunt of it to some extent, because we will hear Jim White, we'll hear people like that go, oh, well, David Moyes had money, like they did every single window when that one's been bought.
I think this is a hard one to spin, because actually Tommy alluded to it, and anyone that's watched telly today, and we've all watched telly because we've all been at the telly on or the radio on waiting for something to happen, and everyone has said this is an opportunity for West Ham. West Ham have got to strengthen. Everyone, I don't care, whoever's been sat in that chair on Sky Sports, who's always saying, "Oh, West Ham squad's a bit weak. They've only got a striker." It's not even a secret. Everyone knows it. It's common knowledge. I just can't see there's any way for anyone to spin this as a good thing. And I almost implore people at the club, David Moyes and the club, to please don't say we tried. If I was the press officer here, I'll be saying, don't do that one. Don't do the we tried. You're better off giving it we mucked up. That's a better one than we tried. We did make a couple of bids and we tried, because I tell you what, it's not going to be well received at all, because everyone thinks it should have been done a lot better and a lot earlier.
The problem is they've already started. This has been going on already, though. Like after the last game, we got David Moyes in his interview with the club being like, yeah, well, you know, I work night and day to try and make transfers happen. I'm like, okay, well, you've been here 2 years. You've been up night and day, and you still haven't signed a striker. I mean, it's getting a little bit ridiculous at this point. I think the problem with it right now, because we've had terrible windows before. We've had terrible windows under David Moyes before. The problem is now the excuses have literally run out. There's no more excuses. The one excuse is that David Moyes wants to be exactly sure. Well, if you're not exactly sure after this amount of time, then all of a sudden the excuses run out. We've had the excuses from Golden Sullivan and all that for years and years and years. They ran out a long time. They ran out about the time everyone started marching towards grounds. They were done at that point. The excuses were over. Sure, we started winning and that died down. But at the same point, we all realized, look, this is they're just going to chat bollocks the entire time regardless. The problem is now with David Moyes is kind of the excuses have run out. There's no more. You can know the excuse can't be, well, he's trying to make sure he's sure. It's like, well, okay, you've had months to try and make sure you were sure. Trust me, my girlfriend, very indecisive. Even she would have made a decision quicker than you have. Okay. And this is the problem here. You have to make a decision at some point. I don't care about this. When I say the idea of like, just get anyone in up front. And I don't necessarily mean anyone like Reece Healy, whatever. I don't want to diss the guy because I don't know him. I'm sure he's a lovely kid. But at the same time, I probably wouldn't want him at West Ham. But even if you have just a singular body in that position that isn't Mikel Antonio, and that means Antonio gets one extra game rest,
Yes.
that means he probably gets one extra good game on top. So if instead of having one good game and 4 bad, he might have 2 good and 2 bad. And this is the problem. We can sit here and go, well, it's not good enough to be, he wouldn't be able to displace Antonio. Bruv, it's not about displacing Antonio. It's about being able to help the people who exist. I understand you can sit there and go, Moyes has his 11. It's potentially. I'll talk to her about it later. We can sit here and we can talk about him having his favorite 11, how he doesn't change it, and all this other sort of stuff. She's watching this. I apologize. If talk about he has his favorite 11 and all this other stuff, and that's fair enough. But at some point, you do have to give those people a rest. Now, again, this idea of like, oh well, it's kind of a blessing in disguise because the youth players can play. Bro, they won't play. They don't play now. Last match, who came on as a sub? It was one person. It was Ryan Fredericks, and that's it. We've had youth players on the bench. Gio, I remember when we did what was it? We spoke after the Man City game when who was it? Was it Randolph who got injured? And Martin and Trott were on the bench, and he brought on David Martin. And you said to me, if he's not getting on now, when is he getting on? And the thing is at the time I went, yeah, you're probably right. Maybe Trott's not good enough. But since then, how many other times have we seen this where he has the opportunity to bring these people on in situations where sometimes it's dead rubber, sometimes the game's done and buried, and he still doesn't do it? I would love to sit here and act like, oh, it's going to be good for the youth players. The youth players can actually play. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. It's so frustrating because he can chat. Well, I've said this to you many times, Gio. I think the guy chats nonsense. I think he's a bullshit merchant all of the time. He says something, and we all admit it now. We all talk about how in press conference he outwardly lies to us all of the time. He lies to us, he lies to the press, he lies to the opposition. We talk about this all the time. The problem is in this situation, it's run out. You can only chat nonsense for so long. At some point, you do have to actually start providing. And if you're not providing, you're still chatting nonsense, then there's nothing to be said here. There is no way to spin this positively. None. I said this earlier. I went on Forged for Mine earlier. Gatesy, who's a Hammers Chat patron, lovely dude. I went on his channel earlier and I said this exact same thing, right? Even today, if we had gone out there and signed, I won't pronounce it like Gonzo because I don't know how to. So Coletta Carr and Nunez, who I would have been ecstatic if we signed those two players in general. That shouldn't serve to put to bed the idea that this has been an awful, awful window full of complete and utter nonsense from start to finish. As much as we all love to watch a 1-0 smash and grab win, and we do, we'll take a 1-0 smash and grab. When it happens, it happens. Grand old time to be had by all. At some point, if you just keep getting smash and grab, smash and grab, smash and grab, smash and grab, that's going to catch up to you. And what we've had here is not even a smash and grab. It's caught up to us. We've had windows like this before. And now finally it's happened where we haven't even signed anyone. The Jesse Lingard window, it wasn't that. We only signed Jesse Lingard, that one, and a youth player. And I think Ben Rama permanently, who was already at the club. We've had these type of windows previously in the past. These have existed. Now the chickens have come home to roost. And the excuses just are dead at this point. They're dead and buried. Because now we have a whole season where we have to hope Mikel Antonio, every time he steps on the pitch for Jamaica, doesn't get injured. Because otherwise, I hope you all like Yarmolenko, because you sure as hell ain't seeing Okoflex. You ain't seeing anyone else, because that's what's going to happen.
This is where it went wrong. David Gold had an early night. I think you're absolutely right, Charlie. I make you bang on. I make you bang on. I can't get rid of that comment now. Someone else will have to do it. Sorry, that's what happens when I get in charge of technology. Thank you. Well done. Well, there we go. I'll tell you what that does do.
Well, it means you can't buy any players.
In terms of the feel bad factor. That's a long old slog now between now and the Kingstonian game.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a long old slog, isn't it? Between now and then. I mean, they needed a game tomorrow that we go and win. After that's really what the club needed. What they're going to get is a load, is this being dissected and a load of crap up until that game. And they better hope that Mikel Antonio comes back injury free with a spring in him. So John's correcting me. It's fine. It's fine. I know full well who it is.
Ish.
There we go. Closed. Slam. Ouch. Done.
This is a slam. It didn't even flip it open. That's the problem. We lost the key for the window. We couldn't find it. We couldn't even get the window open. All I'm going to say is it's subjective for every club. For every club, the transfer window is subjective. It depends on your own personal circumstances. There's only two reasons you get into the January transfer window. I was sort of trying to explain one's anger to Mrs. Geo earlier, who is a football fan, but she's not an engrossed football fan. So the January transfer window to her is sort of like, what's the big deal? Why are you getting so worked up? Why are you chopping that chicken a little bit harder than you usually do? Why are you getting... Why is the fridge slamming shut unlike the bloody transfer window? But I was trying to explain to her, there's only two reasons you go in business in January. A, to get yourself out of the shit. You're down the bottom of the Premier League. You need players in. Newcastle, Watford, they're investing in players to get out of the transfer, to get out of that relegation zone. That's why you do it. Or second is to capitalise on unexpected success thus far in the season, if you like, so that you're in a position you didn't expect to be in. So you get players in just to give yourself a chance to go and achieve something you perhaps didn't think was possible at the start of the season. If you're in the middle, if you are a Crystal Palace, if you're a Southampton right now, there's no need to go into the January transfer window. If West Ham were 8th right now, I'd be saying, don't buy players. Keep the money, save it for the summer. Concentrate on the Europa League. We'll finish somewhere around 10th to 14th. It's fine. Concentrate on the Europa League. But we're not. We're 5th in the Premier League. We have an opportunity to secure European football back-to-back seasons at West Ham United. We got told the reason to move to the London Stadium was the next level. I feel we've taken one step on to the next level this season. Qualify for the Europa League, that is one foot on there. But to get the other foot on there, you have to apply consistency. And that is qualifying for the Europa League again and again and again and again and again. And I don't mean the Champions League, the Europa League, even the Europa Conference League, because that determines how the cups go. At the minute, 6 of the Europa Conference League, depending on the FA Cup outcome, right? That is the next level for me. Consistently qualifying for European football, for challenging for European football, for challenging for the silverware. So we're now in a position where we can actually strengthen the case for achieving what they said they'd achieve by going to the next level. And today, I just feel like this window is just two fingers to the fan base. Like, well, we're not actually that serious about it. Unlucky. We've got here through Moyes having this team punching above its weight. We don't have the 5th best team in the Premier League. We don't have the 5th best starting 11 in the Premier League on paper. But football's not played on paper. That's why we are 5th in the Premier League, because what we've got makes up for the lack of talent in comparison to other teams, perhaps. We've got something that they are perhaps lacking. We've taken advantage of situations at other clubs. And it just feels like this season, a bit of an opportunity for 4th. 4th is up for grabs. I think there's 4 or 5 teams in the race. We're in there with Man U, with Tottenham, with Arsenal. But some of those teams are strengthening. We haven't done. And I just feel like it's a massive missed opportunity, this transfer window, actually. And if we don't have European football for next season, I will deem it as a failure. At the start of the season, if you said to me, West Ham finish 8th, you won't get European football, you'll take the cup seat. It's fine. I'm okay with that. Happy days. Let's go. But we enter the January transfer window in 4th. Remember, we were 4th when the window opened. We have dropped down a league position during the month of January. So we will enter the window in 4th. We had a fantastic opportunity to strengthen and to challenge for the European places again and get another season of European football at West Ham. That is progress. That is consistency. That's what we need. We might still do it. And I will be amazed if we've done it, because that would mean that Antonio stayed fit, or Moyes has come up with a plan B finally, which doesn't involve an out-of-form Mikel Antonio up front. I will be genuinely amazed. And it will almost take a stroke of genius for David Moyes to pull this off, because what he's working with now, it's not good enough. The squad depth is not good enough. We play Watford next Tuesday. The bench is going to have Masuaku on it. The bench is going to have Yarmolenko on it. He's going to have 2 or 3 youngsters who he won't play. And I actually sympathise with why David Moyes won't play those youngsters, because again, it's subjective. When European football's at stake, I understand why he won't blood Oko flex or he won't play Elise at centre back. I get it. Today was an opportunity to not need to play Elise or Okoflex this season and to give them the best chance of developing at West Ham, but we're going to need to play them this season because we're saying fuck all. And it's not good enough. It's not good enough at all. Moyes, Sullivan, it's a bad combination. And this is not the first window. It's been a bad combination. Last January, last summer, bad combination. We saw it every time and time again. And we will sign some good players. Like last January, we signed Jesse Lingard, was fantastic. But we still didn't sign a striker. And we finished 6th, and sometimes that glosses over the fact that we narrowly missed out on the Champions League. Had we got a striker, we might have qualified for 4. Don't know, it's hypothetical. We might not have done. But at least we got Jesse Lingard. We didn't even get Jesse Lingard this January because Man U wouldn't sell him to us. Didn't stop us trying all window football, did it? What a waste of flipping time that was. Yeah. Anyway, I'm ranting over. To
be fair, though, even if we had got him, he'd have been cup tied for Kilmarnock on Friday anyway.
Yes, good point. It's a good point. Also, if we had got him, it still wasn't a striker or a centre back, which we spent the rest of the window trying to get.
I was going to do a giveaway. I forgot to do a giveaway. Charlie and Gonzo, go set your. Have you got your phone, Gonzo?
Yeah.
Do you know how you use the alarm on it? Do you know how you set like the alarm?
Fucking thick. Do
you know how to unlock your phone? Do you know how to do that?
All right, love. All right.
Gonzo, it's your fingertip. When it asks for your tip, it's the finger. It's referring
my
to.
phone don't recognise me. I've got the face thing. Seriously, it's not even recognising me at the moment. It's me. Hold on.
All right.
He jokes. I can't. I'm trying to unlock my phone. Hold on. What's my PIN number? Hold on. 6969. Right, got it. Right, okay. What?
That was good. That.
Right. What do you want me to do? Set my calculator.
Set a timer on for between 3 and 5 minutes. Charlie, can you do one between?
What you mean? 4 minutes?
It could be 3 minutes 10 seconds, 3 minutes 25 seconds, whatever.
I'm done. It's the timer's running. The timer's running.
What do you mean the timer's running?
You said set a timer to go off between 3 and 5 minutes. It's running.
That's okay then. Charlie, have you done yours?
How long? I didn't hear how long you wanted it for.
Do 5 to 6 minutes. Somewhere in there. 5 minutes something. Right, what we're going to do then, we're going to give away 2 next level mugs.
Mine makes porn noises when it goes off.
Well,
my phone's new and I've never heard the alarm on it, so we'll find out together what noise it makes.
So basically, when the alarms go off, whoever's commented last will win a mug. I've still got to post the Christmas ones out actually, but the last person that's commented will win a mug. So in the live chat, get your thoughts on the transfer window. Essentially, it's what we're wanting. Get your thoughts in to the live chat. Gonzo, when the alarm goes off, you're gonna have to tell me who was the last person to comment while I flick through and have a little look. Our email is in the description, mates. Just hammerschat@gmail.com, to be honest with you. We tried the fancy one, the whole like info@hammerschat.com. It's crap. So we just converted back
to Gmail.
Yeah, we just went back.
Easy, innit?
And Tony says, I don't believe there was any money available beyond a small amount. I think Moyes knew that, which is why he was constantly played down the possibility of signings. Possibly, but you probably shouldn't say there's money available. That's the problem, isn't it? It's
the joy of the situation as well is we'll get told by Jim White and other people tomorrow how much money was available.
He's someone I could throttle. I'll tell you that for free.
The fact I will say,
Tony or Jim White.
Jim White, Tony.
Not Tony. It looks like he could batter me, to be honest with you. So
hey, I'll tell you what, they do like to say it better. It's the old Scots.
One of the unexpected joys of today was Simon Jordan doing a face turn like prime WWE and starting to go on about how bad David Sullivan is in the transfer market. I was like, Simon Jordan of all people on TalkSport saying this sort of stuff about West Ham. I never would have heard it. Never would have heard it. Yeah, here it was.
Hughes 7070 says, gutted ain't the word. I blame me for believing we would invest. See, that's sad. Genuinely, I'm not taking the piss. That is sad, actually, that there is other people like Hughes and us to some extent where you have hope, and the hope is what kills you at the end of the day. I don't like reading comments like that, actually. It makes me sad.
We've all been done by some, my big ones when I did the video. And I went to the Newham Park run, which was at the Olympic Stadium. I did a video and said, "Are these seats are going to be moved forward?" And then someone posted a comment said, "They're not. That's their finishing position." I said, "No, they're not, because the board have said David Gold said they're going to move forward, and they weren't." So we've all done it.
Yeah, just quickly, I just want to say a massive thank you to Jordan. Keep up the great work. Love the videos. P.S. It's nearly summer. Get to do it all over again. M. Breezy says, I'm just very sad, lads. And M. Breezy's commented this a few times afterwards, so I hope you're cheering up.
Yeah, mate.
Brendo's, thanks for the great coverage, guys. We're all feeling gutted now, but a few wins in the coming days, the pain will subside. And Jordan saying Vazquez having his medical as we speak. I'm still waiting for Ida Good Johnson, to be honest with you.
Is Patrice Everest still available on free?
Yeah.
Do you want to know who is available?
I'm
not
even
even taking the piss.
Go on.
Slimani. He's just been released by his club.
Oh, because there was that rumor going around from Ornstein earlier about thingy. Ooh.
Benfica. So Slimani, he was playing in the African Nations. I can't remember what nationality he was.
Algeria.
I seen him. Yeah, I seen him out front. Yeah, it was Algeria.
So when you say the last comment, is it the last comment that pertains to a mug?
No,
just the last comment in the live chat.
No, well, in which case.
So yes, Slimani's now a free agent, so we can obviously sign Slimani. He'd have to be a free agent before the window closed. This is where it gets a bit tricky. If they've released a player tomorrow, you can't sign him because he had a club when the window closed. But because he's just been released, he can actually sign for a Premier League club, provided you've got space in the club. You're not allowed to. I could be wrong, but okay, never mind. Fuck it. Who was the name, Gonzo?
What's up there?
Oh, okay, you clicked that. Sorry. Brilliant. There you go, Gary Peacock. You've won a next level mug. It's one of our best sellers. It's the first piece of merchandise we ever brought out. Get in touch with us, hammerchat@gmail.com. Can you turn that thing off? Because might be copyrighted, that jingle.
That's true.
Banned.
It was vibey, though. It was vibey.
Sleep. No, snooze. Just restart. Sorry. There we go.
Turn it off, Gonzo. Click the button.
All right, then. Got your phone, love.
Lewis says, even Gonzo's ringtone is something my granddad would have.
I laugh, but I actually genuinely don't know what mine's going to be, so I shouldn't.
That's not my ringtone. That's my timer alarm. Thank you.
Some people are saying Snodgrass has just been released.
My ringtone's the Archers.
Bloody hell. Have you ever heard that compilation of just the size from the Archers? It's pretty good. There you go. There you go, everyone. That's where we haven't made any signings. What more do you want from us? What more do you want from us?
Oliver says GSB out. Mugged us off. Daniel also says GSB out. And then people are discussing the possibility of signing Robert Snodgrass as now he's been released from West Brom. Which is...
I can't believe it.
Oh, yay, my friend. Oh, I'll tell you, my Samsung Galaxy brother from another mother.
I wish I could have made that up. I wish I did that on purpose.
My Samsung Galaxy brother from another mother.
Yeah, I was concerned he said that as well. But I can't believe that actually happened. That was the comment, by the way, Gio. I can't believe it.
Mr. Ibas, email us, please. hammerchat@gmail.com. Give us an email with your address. I'll get it sent out along with the Christmas stuff. Now, before we disappear, I'll get the final words from these two in just a minute. Tomorrow is the best day to join our Patreon. If you wish, go to patreon.com/hammerchat. You can sign up now. You're signing annually. You're going to sign monthly. Wait till tomorrow. It's the first of the month. Best time to join up. You'll get all stuff from behind the scenes of Hammer Chat. More truthful videos, although I think this one's been quite a truthful video, to be honest with you. Right, Gonzo, final words, please.
Disappointing, naive, silly, opportunity missed, a surrender. I would call this a surrender of a transfer window at a time when we had a real opportunity and we watched our neighbours in Tottenham who, let's be fair, we're meant to be vying for the same position. We watched them go and make the signs that they needed to do and have a really busy last transfer deadline day, last 2 days. A lot will be said that we shouldn't have left it so late. I agree. But Tottenham and Everton have actually proved that actually, as if you're half competent, you can get some deals over the line on transfer deadline day. The chap, the Benfica one, who's over in Uruguay, apparently has some knee complaints. He's anyway, whatever. He's got a bit of an injury record. To think that you could even remotely get a deal done with Benfica, which did give them time to get a replacement and or go to South America and conduct a medical, which would have needed to be an extensive medical because you're dealing with ACLs, is naive at best. Just a bad window, opportunity missed. I really sincerely hope it doesn't bite us on the arse. I hope Moyes is right, and this is enough to get through. Listen, if we get to the FA Cup final and Yarmolenko curls in the winner, I'll be delighted. I'll eat humble pie. Actually, probably won't eat humble pie anymore, and I'll eat one of those Balti pies. I'll probably have a regular pie, but I'll be delighted. But it seems to be that we're leaving ourselves open for a bit of an injury crisis, and this could well curtail what's been really good progress. We've made really good progress this season, and it looks like we've just got halfway there and thought, I'll just go home now.
Charlie, final words?
Yeah, man. It's been crap, innit? The worst part about it, Gio, is not really how crap it was. It's the fact that I'm not surprised. Really. But at the beginning, I said it from the beginning. I felt like we were going to sign a centre back and an attacking midfielder, and that wouldn't be enough. And that was at the beginning of the window. And it's only gotten worse since then. I had low expectations that we wouldn't get a striker from the start. And the fact that we got to today, and the end of today, me and you, Gio, we've been in constant contact today because we've been doing thumbnails for the videos and whatever else. And we've both just been going, yeah, this isn't happening, is it? Just like the entire day, it's just got worse and worse. The fact that I'm not surprised it's gone like this is the worst part about it. The worst part about it. So, yeah. Come on, you irons. Let's see what happens.
Missed opportunity, a massive risk. I think it'd been riskier to sign somebody and get it wrong than it is to sign nobody. It's just sad, to be honest with you. To do this much progress and then just do nothing is quite sad. The lack of, I don't know what it is. Maybe is it too much confidence in the current squad, or is it a lack of confidence to take West Ham up a level and challenge for European places? Again, I'm not sure which one it is, but either one of them is not really good. It's just incompetence is what I'm going to put it down to. Poor scouting, indecisiveness, poor negotiations. I think there's actually a bit of everything, to be honest with you. I don't think it's just one thing. And I wish it was just one thing. It would be easier to fix. But the fact is, I think everybody's got their own part to play in this. And it is a failure of a transfer window again. And we've been told by Moyes, been looking for 2 years and still not finding a striker. Well, it's going to be 2.5 years when we're going to the summer window that we're looking for a striker. It's not good enough, quite frankly. It's just simply not good enough. But anyway, we're going to leave it there. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. A massive thank you to everybody that's joined us tonight. We've regularly been on 1,500 views throughout the show, which is just quite ridiculous for us, for a channel this size as well. So make sure you subscribe, drop a like on the video. And like I said, thank you once again for joining us. It means a lot to us. I think people underestimate how much things mean to us on YouTube, whether it's a thumbs up on the video, whether it's people watching live and sticking with us. It generally does mean a lot and motivates us, stuff like that. So thank you. Gonzo, Charlie, thank you as always.
Thank you.
No worries.